Hello, it's me, Kevin Vonesper. Welcome to GWARPod, episode 4, I believe. That's pretty cool. We got 4 episodes under our belt. And then one, if you want to go to episode 0 with Hunter Jackson, go to my other show, GWARPod. Hello. Okay, I'm not going to do like a big fancy introduction for our guest because I'm weaving a narrative here. This is a very personal one, and you will find out who he is as we go along. But let's see. I should do the theme first. You ready for the theme song?
GWARPod comes from on
GWARPod. 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 GWARPod.
Hello, Jason Lekberg.
What's up, man?
Are you triggered yet?
No, there is none louder.
The promo that never ends.
Oh my god, I can't believe you found the long version because we have like 10 different versions
Oh,
of that.
every week it was a different one. Yeah. I had a couple tapes of backup stuff that I was trying to transfer over, and I did, but then it came out with no sound for some reason, so I got to figure that out. But somebody put that on YouTube, and I don't know who it was, but I'm thankful for them. And it doesn't say like who's in the video, so it doesn't have like that many views. It's just like, what an interesting period of time and like a relic of the past.
Oh man, I was really enjoying that. I don't remember the last time I saw the long one. I mean, it's got to be a decade ago.
I
And
think
like,
that was the final one because me and Matt
yeah,
used to just update that thing like weekly.
and there's so many bands in there that like, I mean, God, Nurgle before he had cancer when he had hair, and
Mm.
like, although like there was like 4 or 5 bands. I was like, who
Dude,
are those bands? I don't even remember
yeah,
these people.
yeah, but then there's also Lady Gaga who wasn't famous yet.
Right? Yeah,
Did you
Lady
remember
Gaga,
that
not famous.
one?
I did remember that. I remember she was in there. Metal, Steel Panther before they were Steel Panther, when
Metal
they were called
School,
Metal
yeah, we'll
School.
talk about them obviously, because
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
like,
crazy.
and then I know like the Hell Yeah, Pantera dudes and stuff like.
Yeah,
I
that's what a weird period of time, man. That
Yeah,
was a weird time.
so let's start there. What is okay, I'm not sure which question I want to ask first. Um, let's start here. Somebody was very observant on one of my posts the other day and was specifically asked me, why did you hashtag Buddy Lube? And I
That's the
said,
question.
ooh, you will find out. There was a purpose to this. It wasn't just a random pairing of words for me. Here, which one do you want to answer first? What is None Louder? What did we just watch? Like, and what is Buddy Lube, and how would you describe that to someone? I'm not sure which order that one should go in.
I feel like since everybody just watched the None Louder promo, we have to
Go
explain that.
backwards. Okay.
So yeah. So None Louder was a metal website, a metal news blog / website, but early
I
in the
heard.
days of.
Can you guys hear me now? Sorry, I'm interrupting, but apparently that video had no sound, which is like, oh
Oh,
no. Does that mean I have to play it again
oh, the
and
whole
punish
thing.
all of you?
I don't know, maybe like 2 seconds of it or something, like a
It's
couple of minutes, so they.
I don't know what the problem was. That's the problem. But
Oh. All right.
that
Well, either way, it was a
fudge.
bunch of people. It was all those people who you saw their names on the screen saying there is none louder. They
Or
kept
some
saying that over and
variation
over,
of, yeah.
or some variation of that. Yeah, and so it was a metal website, a news website that also included social features, because that was early. Well, at that time we were calling it Web 2.0, before we
Yes,
called it social media.
MySpace was
Yep.
all the rage. If we want to put this in time, Facebook
Yep.
uh was brand new and mostly just for college students.
Only just for college. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was during that time period, and then None Louder launched and ran for a little while, and then became a site called Skulls and Bones, which Skulls and Bones is still
Forgot about
active and
that.
is still being run by our mutual friend Sam Roon, who now lives
Mhm.
in Helsinki.
Right.
And so, but None Louder, for a minute there was a big budget behind it, and we had Ian Robinson writing for us, and we had Scott Ian doing a column, and like
Oh, he was
we had
doing
all
like
these
food
people.
videos too
Yeah, yeah,
and
it was
stuff like
crazy.
that.
Yeah. So then, how that ties into Buddy Lube is
Yes,
that
what
Buddy
is
Lube.
Buddy Lube?
So Buddy
Do
Lube
you
was the
put that on your
company.
resume?
I don't. I think actually my LinkedIn says UCast.
Me too, me too. We'll do the
Yeah,
difference later, but
yeah. So Buddy Lube was a company that ran None Louder, right? They somewhat owned None Louder, but Buddy Lube was a marketing firm that was launched by a manager who managed a bunch of heavy metal bands. And really, what happened was, if you guys remember this, long time ago, there was a technology called Snapvine where
I
you were
don't
able
even
to go
remember
on.
this.
Yeah, were you able to go on a MySpace page and you would see a little widget? Exactly what we're going to say that word a lot on this
Mhm.
podcast.
Yeah.
It was a little widget where you would have a phone number, and if you called that phone number, you could hear a voicemail from the band. You hear a message from a band, and then you could leave a voicemail for a band. And the owners of Snapvine came to this manager, who at the time managed the band Mudvayne, and he put the Snapvine widget on Mudvayne's MySpace page and melted their servers. Like their
Wow.
servers literally
I actually
crashed.
never heard this story.
Yeah, that's where the company came from, because then he said, "Hey, this is a business," and started the company Buddy Lube, which basically was a group of people. There you go, more eyeballs.
That's the
That
only
was a
thing I could
division.
find. It's a hard to Google thing now.
Yeah, yeah, right. I bet. But the idea of it was that we did deals with artists and record labels, and also emerging social technologies, and use the technologies to market the artists, and use the artists to market the technologies,
So getting paid from
and
both ends to connect them together,
getting
basically.
paid from both. Yep,
Yeah.
genius idea, I have to
It
say.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then we basically were the beginning of what we now consider social media marketing, digital marketing. I mean, that company was ground zero for that. We were the first agency of record for Twitter, for Eventful, for Reverb Nation. The technology that None Louder was built on was called Ning, which had a long history.
Which also did,
We
thisis50.com, right?
This is 50. Yeah, we launched This is
Defense
50. Yeah,
website,
so
yeah.
the reason we're talking about that, for those of you watching, is that both Kevin and I worked there, and that's where Kevin and I met each other. Kevin
Yeah,
was in the fabulous AV department, and I was in the marketing department, which was called More Eyeballs.
upstairs, you were upstairs, I was downstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
were you there when we were across the street at the like the old office?
yes, briefly for, like, at least a and then we all just grabbed our computers and walked across the street one day.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, we represented. I mean, when I started the company, we were at the old location, and I think there
Yeah,
were like 35, something like that, people. And within 10 months, we were 120
and then
people.
within how many months did it go back to 1?
Like four
Yeah,
months, like
yeah, yeah.
completely crashed. Yeah,
It just
yeah.
like
Because
boom,
what?
boom, boom, bam.
Boom. Right. Because basically,
Startup
what happened
companies.
was,
Still the
yeah,
best job I
everybody.
ever had.
Really? You say?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'd say,
That was a
sadly.
that was that was slave labor, and it was horrible hours. The first month when you got hired by that company, you got paid cash, $1,500 a month. And
I
if
don't
you
remember
made it
that.
the month, yeah, if you made it the month, then you would get an actual paycheck and a W-2 and everything else.
I
We went
do
through.
remember a couple weeks where nobody got paid. So,
Well, that
yeah,
was
that
when
was
it
the
fell
tail
out.
end. That
Yeah,
was the other side of it.
yeah, yeah. So I joined in. I want to say it was like March of, what was that? 2006, seven, six?
Sound
I don't know,
it
somewhere
was,
around
like,
there.
within that year, like, span, yeah.
Right. The next
I think we were
February
all
was
gone by 2008, let's put it that way.
yeah. The next February was when he started missing paychecks, and basically what happened was we made so much noise that all of the labels and management companies came in and started scooping up people out of the company, and
Mm.
then the owner started going around saying, I remember this vividly. He started telling everybody, Buddy Lube are the label killers. You don't need a label anymore. We take artists and we break artists, and this is what we do. And 1 million followers on MySpace is a new platinum record, and would just say things like that and pissed off all of the record labels, who then went to the artists and said, don't work with this company. So we lost all our clients. And then they were also writing contracts with the technologies guaranteeing subscribers. That was like,
oh, really? I never
the
read the
most
fine
insane thing
print.
to me.
See, I was
Yeah,
just
they
making
were
videos in the basement and like fucking around mostly.
the Reverb Nation guys, the two guys that owned Reverb Nation. They've now sold it, but at that time, I became very good friends with them. And years later, I was like having dinner with them, and they were like, "Dude, they're like, we're going to tell you straight up, we signed that contract just to see what would happen because it was impossible. You were never going to meet the terms of that contract, and we knew it, and we signed it just to see what was going to happen."
Wow, did we ever get sued?
Yeah,
Really?
company got sued a couple of times. Yep, got sued a couple of times. And then the reason Buddy Lou became UCast is because it took such a big nosedive that they changed the name to try. There you go. Yeah, they changed the name to try and like, hide the past. And they existed with like a skeleton crew for I think another year, and then they got hired by a marketing firm who was hired by Amazon or some big TV studio to help market a TV show, and they were literally bribing bloggers to write about it. And one of the bloggers
Blogged about
basically
that?
then, she blogged, she like posted a screenshot of the email and talked about the fact that they were trying to bribe them. And then the big TV company was like, "Who is UCast? We didn't hire UCast. Who's you?" So it was a whole shit storm.
Oh my
And then it
God.
became Social Chorus.
I never heard
that.
I didn't follow it to this point. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me the
And
story.
then it became Social Chorus, and then he operated it for a couple more years with like one or two people who hung on from the beginning. I won't say their names because they're still
I know,
they're still kicking around.
I think I at least know one of them because I remember running into one of this person, and I was like, "Oh, you still working with them?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm actually the only one left."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it was like
just
one or two of them.
him and the two, top
And the
guys.
two guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he sold Social Chorus. I don't remember, this was probably a decade ago now. He sold Social Chorus for like a couple of $1 million, but I don't remember all the details. But I mean, the exciting thing about it was not only like did we make friendships like you and I,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah. Lots of contacts and
so
definitely
many, and
life experience.
you go through all the major labels and all the big management firms now, and their heads of digital are all from Buddy Lube.
I know. I'm waiting for one of them to find me here, and I'm still in the basement.
Hit them up.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
they're all like people who I remember bringing people in because I don't know if you remember this, but I was part of the management team of More Eyeballs on that side. And so I hired a lot of these people, and some of these people, this was like their first job. I remember being
This was my first job out of college. Yeah. Like after a couple months of interning places, like this was my first real job, and probably still my only real job.
I mean, look at people like who's it? I think Joseph Villaroman. He's head of digital for Def Jam now.
I don't remember.
And that was like
him.
his first job.
I shouldn't say that. I remember you were awesome, Joe. What was his name?
Joseph.
Joseph. I got it right. All right.
I mean, look, like people like CJ, right? You remember CJ? CJ went on to
There was so many of us in such a short period of time.
Yeah. Well, he ran social media for Will Smith family, for Lionel Richie, Queen Latifah, I think he was working for a while. Dimple now has for a decade run an unbelievably successful digital agency out in LA. I mean, I can just go down the list. There's so many people now that are like, what we learned there, it was a crazy battleground, but like we invented what is now known as social media marketing.
I don't know if we successfully totally killed the labels, but I always tell people that we killed MySpace.
I think we may have killed MySpace.
I think, and I'm not even joking, like that sounds ridiculous, but I think we did kill MySpace. Like,
well, I don't know if you remember this.
Every page took like 5 minutes to load because of all the fucking widgets, and whether we put them there or not, we promoted all of them to people who did it.
Do you remember the Ouija pool?
No.
Okay, so towards the end of the company, we got to the place where we realized that we were putting 10 to 15 to 20 widgets on all these artists' MySpace pages, and they were loading too slowly.
Yeah.
So we got the idea to go to a company. I think it was Kaltura that built this for us, who are now a major video like delivery platform for like huge Fortune 500 companies. But they worked for us, so we had them build a thing called the Ouija pool, and it was a widget that scrolled other widgets inside it.
I believe it. I believe it. Oh my
It was
god.
nuts. That
So
was
now
nuts.
what?
We did all the fun stuff.
So now what's the elevator pitch?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You
So,
got
so
30
that was
seconds.
like it took us like 15 minutes just to explain that. And
But
like
dude, I mean,
that's just brushing the surface
it's so look. I mean, do you remember Kite? KYTE?
by name, but I don't know what they did.
They
They were
they
like
took Nokia
some kind of
they took
phone
Nokia
thing, right?
N95 phones, and you had to mail them your phone, and they would send it back with an app that they put on it that allowed you to live stream from your phone. They were the first live stream from the phone thing that ever existed to a widget on
Yeah,
your
that
MySpace
sounds
page
about
or
right.
wherever you wanted to put it, right? What we're
Probably
doing
not
right
very good
now,
quality, but still, like the idea was new.
right. What we're doing right now is
Yep.
directly from Kite, right?
Yeah.
And Daniel Graff, who ran Kite, ended up going to Google and running their maps division for years, and then he got hired by Uber to completely do over all their maps, and now he's, I don't know, like sold his shares and lives in Bermuda or
Wow.
something. Like some of the smartest people in tech that exist right now, we worked with, like we're on the phone with, doing conference calls once a
Yeah.
week.
And what a
Crazy.
dynamic. I mean, we were like running like real A-list people like Britney Spears, right?
50
All kinds of
Cent.
people, 50 Cent,
Yeah,
yeah. Like, but then in the
crazy.
basement, it's
Kanye,
like,
we did Graduation.
well, didn't somebody that we worked with manage him?
Yes.
And do they still?
No, they
Oh,
don't.
okay.
And they didn't make it into the documentary either. I was really upset by that.
Oh,
I
I
was
didn't
hoping
watch
they
it.
were going to
Now
be
I'm
in
not
that.
gonna watch it. I'm boycotting.
Oh, yeah, it's actually fascinating. You should watch it. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
know. I should.
yeah, one of the guys who worked there, one of the dudes who was part of the management company, ended up managing Kanye for
Last time I saw
6 or 7
him,
years.
he effectively snuck me into a show that I was supposed to be on the list for, but wasn't.
Nice.
And it was
He
not
manages.
Kanye West, it was Killing Joke. Very, very different.
Oh yeah. He managed them for a while. I think
Yeah.
now he's got. I want to say. I think he does Gaslight Anthem now. I think he's managing them,
Okay.
and another big pop star. I don't remember. Not Halsey, but like somebody like in that realm. He manages.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, everybody, this will all be relevant to Guar at some point in the night. We're building up. This is all tension, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's what we did. And then, in the basement where I was video editing, well, first let me say, we are here with Jason Lekberg, and I can't believe you didn't wear your white suit. I wore my black tie and black shirt just for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's
I got to go
okay.
dig it out of the closet.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so funny that you picked that photo when we were doing those photos. I brought that, and the rest of the band was like, "No, dude." They're like, "That's not the one.
Hell
That's not
yeah,
it."
dude. You know what? The better you dress, the less they expect the chaos out of you later.
That's true. I think the issue was the white on white. I think that was the issue. They were like, "That's just a little too like, I don't know, like college guy
It's not
wedding or
Is it
something."
not metal enough for them?
I think it was a little too like, I don't know, like what's the right word? Cold. You know what I mean? Like it was just too like middle America guy wedding. Like I'm gonna be different and wear a white suit at my wedding or something. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's cool. I always like I don't know if you know anything about the World Inferno Friendship Society.
No.
No, okay. I can't This would take a whole another 20 minutes to really explain, but essentially were a band that they called themselves a punk rock orchestra because they always had like 9 people in the band, and there was like, horn sections and like an accordion player and just like all kinds of like circus orchestra instruments, but also like drums, bass, guitar. And they would go up there so unassuming. They're like middle-aged, like boring looking men and women, but they're wearing very fancy clothes and suits and dresses. And they start, and the whole place goes fucking nuts. There's circle pits, there's stage diving, everyone's looking great. The whole room is destroyed by the end of the night, and you're just like, what the fuck just happened?
I love it.
And they became like one of my favorite bands for like 20 years. And last year the singer died, so here's where I'll get relevant to GWAR. I didn't expect this coming, but it did. For the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years probably, except for the pandemic, I've had to decide between my two favorite bands, because their thing was always, they're a Brooklyn band, but they always did Halloween as like their big party, theme, the Great Pumpkin, and they were all about that. And so then GWAR started playing New York every Halloween, and I was like, fuck. Usually GWAR won out because I remember almost not going to see Oderis's last show at Irving Plaza. And I think I bought tickets the day of, and I was like, thank fucking God I did, because I would have like hated myself. So every time GWAR comes out now, I have to like go see them, because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. And as a little bit of a teaser so that everybody knows, the reason that I'm on it is because now I work for GWAR.
Yes.
Well, we can get there. But yes.
So yes, you do work with GWAR. He knows GWAR, okay? And we're going to get there. It's part of the narrative that we're weaving here. But trust me, it's all relevant, because without this background, there would be no GWAR probably. And okay, so let's get back to Buddy Lube, because I'm not done talking about Buddy Lube.
All right.
What
do you want to talk about?
Found a picture of me at Buddy Lube.
Oh, look at that. You look exactly the same.
I know. What happened? This is, dude, can you believe I've known you for like 15 years?
I know.
This was crazy. 15 years ago.
We have to explain to everybody else too that the basement where all the creative team worked was painted like hell. So that was one of our eyeball logos in hell.
That's you working down there, I believe.
Look at that.
And
the poor shirt.
At least you're wearing a shirt.
Yeah, and that is one of the two owners.
that is the boss man. Bench. Yeah. This is my perspective amazing. At work on some days.
That's Joseph.
Is it?
Yeah.
Joe, my best friend, who's gonna give me a new job. What's up, Joe?
That's awesome.
And I think I have another one. That's more of a close-up of you guys. And I think this was, let's just say the fleshiness was not a normal occurrence, but it wasn't surprising either. This was probably after one of our big parties, because it was definitely a party crew too.
Man, I got to tell you, some of the most inappropriate things I've ever seen in a workplace environment were caused and created by that human. So,
dude,
yeah,
somebody needs to make the Buddy Lube movie, just throwing it out into the world. This would be a great Netflix miniseries or whatever,
I mean, you are fucking creative. You are a creative.
I know, but I've never done like fiction work. I'm more of a documentary. I could make the documentary, but I don't know if everyone would participate.
Why not? Yes, they would.
You think even the top dogs would want to talk about it? Because
I think people would. Because I think once we start signing on from the bottom, I think it would stack up, and I think it's something that people would be like, "What the actual fuck?"
Yeah,
like people would love that story, because the stuff that we could talk about, man.
Yeah, just what we've talked about in 15 minutes is like could go in so many directions.
So many different directions, and everything, like from the worst to the best. Like we came up with some of the craziest and pulled off some of the coolest shit with nothing. And then I was in a meeting, and that gentleman who we just saw pulled a woman's breast out of her dress in the middle of the meeting. Like,
wow.
Just do you remember when he and the other owner got in a spitting fight in a meeting? They were literally spitting on each other.
I'm not surprised.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah,
It was
no.
the one of the craziest like
I
11 months
just
I think you could
know
ever have.
I remember certain times when he got a little too excitable and would just like not stop showing us stuff that he used to do with like J Lo and stuff. Like it was
Do you
very exciting.
do you remember the story of how he got fired by Diddy?
No.
So he used to work for P Diddy,
Yeah.
and he went into P Diddy's office one day,
That's
and
Puff
P
Daddy. I don't know what he's known as these days. Is he still
all
P
right,
Diddy?
whatever he's on, Sean
Diddy? I think
Combs,
he's just Diddy now. Maybe he's just Sean
Diddy,
Combs.
what,
Yeah.
whoever the hell he is. He
Google
went
it,
into his
you
office, yeah,
millennials.
and his lunch was sitting on the table, and this gentleman who we're speaking about was hungry, so he ate his lunch.
Wow.
He ate Diddy's lunch, and Diddy came back and was like, "Did you eat my lunch?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was hungry." And he goes, "Cool, you're fired."
Wow. I know
I
that.
mean, I don't know
Hey,
if
if you
that's true or
guys
not, but
really
that's the
want to do
story he
your
told me.
research, you can find an old MTV Video Music Awards where Diddy shouts this man out on stage. So it's all true.
Crazy.
Fair use for the documentary.
Yes. Dude, I'm telling you, you should make that documentary. I will help
Yeah,
you
I gotta
round
finish my
everybody up.
current documentary first, but that's, you know what? I'm saying it right
Oh, yeah.
now. That's gonna be, yes.
I mean,
Me,
dude, you have
we
to do
gotta
it. It's
reunite the video team.
you and Matt Brewster
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Prisbaki. The
Yeah,
three of you guys got to go. You make it. Brewster's doing great stuff now. Like
yeah.
he's got all the gear.
See, that's what. Yeah, okay. Yeah. See, this is a great marriage. 15 years later, maybe for the 20th
Yes.
anniversary, that's gonna be like when we launch it.
Yeah, it'll take a couple of years to get it done. So do it.
Exactly.
I mean, look,
Exactly.
Matt, I mean, speaking of, again, just talking about Matt Brewster, I mean, he runs a company now. He is a co-owner of a company, amazing video production company called Engine Room. They just did a new Static X video for me. So
Nice.
that's going to be coming out pretty soon. You'll see that stuff. I mean, like everybody who was there is doing great stuff.
Yeah. I found this. I don't remember it, but I'm we had some kind of write-up in the New York Times,
Well, I don't remember this.
and there it's like Bob Dylan and then, oh, maybe I shouldn't show all the names in here, but whatever, you can Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to say it.
Yeah,
You
that's
can, I
fair.
mean, it's public record.
It's
So
public record. I
wow.
probably knew about this at the time, but I totally forgot that like there was like a giant New York Times article about us that
Yep.
like talks about Bob Dylan and Buddy Lee. Was he a client, Bob Dylan?
I don't remember doing Bob Dylan stuff.
Huh.
It's possible, man. That list was so.
It was pretty
I
crazy.
mean, it was insane. I mean, we did all kinds of people from. We were doing T-Pain at the time, who was like the hottest guy in the world, and we did all kinds of rock and metal bands, and like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to lead into
Absolutely
the
crazy.
metal stuff. So, okay, we're going to talk about metal for
Okay.
you GWAR fans out there, because there's one, probably the biggest project that I did at that company was a little thing called Hell Yeah Below the Belt.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know this launched a lot of context for you as well, if you want to dig into that.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting one because
And
you
who
guys
is
were.
Hell Yeah? Because I don't
Who,
think they exist anymore,
all
right?
right. No, they're not. They don't. Well, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
on
we'll see.
hiatus at the
Right,
moment. But
right.
Hell Yeah was a band that was formed by Chad Gray, the lead singer of Mudvayne, and Tom Maxwell, the guitar player from Nothing Face. They had toured together. Mudvayne and Nothing Face had toured together. Mudvayne was managed by this management company. And they wanted to do kind of like a fun side project. They were trying to figure out other stuff to do. So Chad brought the guitar player from Mudvayne, Greg Tribbett, and Tom brought the bassist from Nothing Face. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. I never worked with him, so because he was before my time. I can't remember his name now.
Which member?
The
Bass
bassist.
player? Oh, the original one or the one who ended up in
Yeah,
the band?
no, the original one.
I
The
know.
second was Bob Zilla.
Okay, yeah, right. Um, shit, I'm blanking on his name too, but he was in Danzig.
He did. He played Danzig for a while. Yeah. So he's been around. But
and he's actually a member of Green Jello at one point. Surprise,
oh
surprise.
wow, small world. There it is.
Well,
But
Green
anyways,
Jello
so
is quite a
they put
big
together.
world.
Yeah, yeah. they put together this band, and then we're trying to find a drummer, and convinced Vinnie Paul of Pantera to play drums, and that was his first project after Pantera, after his brother.
Jerry
Well, actually, after
Montano.
Jerry Montano. That's exactly it. Yep. But yeah, so Vinnie, so it was Vinnie Paul, and obviously that was the biggest name, Pantera, Damage Plan, and they were a management client then, and so then we did all their socials, and we did social marketing for them because it was part of that. And as I was saying earlier, towards the end of the company, towards the end of the Buddy Lube portion of the company, I should say, all the labels and management companies came in and started grabbing people. And Epic Records came and got me, offered me a job, and I went to Epic, which was the home of Hell Yeah. It was Hell Yeah's record label. So I did digital marketing there for a while, and then I became Hell Yeah's product manager. And so then I worked with them, and then I went to actually Hell Yeah's new management company and worked there for a while after I left Epic before starting my own company. So I had a long run with the Hell Yeah and Mudvayne guys.
Yeah. And I did a project for you while you were at Epic. So thank you.
Oh yeah, one of those?
Did some like live videos. I don't know if they ever were released, but
live music videos or like the live?
Yeah, sort of. I think it was like Rock on the Range footage, but we, put it to studio tracks. It's like bonus material kind of stuff. I don't know.
I think that's on the bonus, the deluxe of the second record, Stampede. If you get the second one, there's a DVD.
There was like 2 or 3 bands that I did, but I don't remember any of them because I wasn't really a fan. But
nice.
I don't need to be a fan to do work.
Just
saying, I don't remember. Cavo was one of them, I think.
Cavo was one by the time I got to 11-7. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 11-7 band.
Was that not Epic? 11-7 something else. Okay, this was an 11-7 project then.
Yeah, so 11-7 is a record label. They're now called Better Noise, but at the time they were called 11-7. That is owned by the man.
Was that one of the other ones?
Crossfade was also one of the bands.
That was the other one.
Yeah, we did those. That was all 2010, 2011-ish, somewhere around there, maybe. A little later than that, 12, yeah, 11, 12, something like that. Anyways, but yeah, that's a different, the second record label that I went to before I launched my own company in 2013.
Right, so, and we will get to that. That is going to be the direct link to GWAR. Just a spoiler alert.
Yes.
But let me shift focus a little bit and talk about your more personal connection to metal, which is you being a singer in metal bands for as long as I've known you and before.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where I came to it. I was a performer first, and when I came to New York, I really wanted to learn more, and was very fortunate to have a partner who was willing to let me take a really big risk, and do things like go work at a company like Buddy Lube for no money.
Wait, before that, I believe
you
were in this band, right? See, I told you I had to. That? Yeah, I don't know. You sold it to me or something, like a couple years ago.
Horrible. That's how
you're like, I found a box of these or something. I don't know.
I had to have given it to you. There's no way I sold you that. That's horrible. That would be horrible.
But I definitely was like, I want one of those. Yeah, I like my physical media, and I collect, especially things that are more personal to me.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So that was the band that I was in Indiana before I moved. Yeah, before I moved to New York. I grew up in Indiana, and that was the band.
2003. Ooh.
Yeah, that was our second record. That was right before I moved.
So this is almost getting a 20-year deluxe reissue coming up next.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna deluxe reissue it. I'm gonna go back in the studio and retrack all the vocals. Believe me, every note. It was not my best work.
The band you are talking about is IKILLYA.
Yeah, that's the band that I was in for the majority of the time that you and I have known each other.
Yeah.
12 years, put out 3 records, and did a bunch of touring and on the radio and press. And it was very, I feel very fortunate to have been a part of that. Unfortunately, the larger public didn't really connect with it in a way that allowed us to
Let me try to play a video. Tell me if there's sound here, although I don't want it to be too loud. Can you hear it out there? Can you hear it, Jason?
I can't hear it. No.
That's so crazy.
Nope. Maybe
Wow.
StreamYard is like, does StreamYard block YouTube?
No, I play YouTube all the time on this thing.
That's strange.
Well,
I don't know.
I'll try to figure it out. Wah wah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so I
Yeah,
was in
that's
that
your
band
metal
for a long time.
band. And
For a long time. Yeah.
what actually one of the things I wanted to show, because I was like, I must have done some video of some sort with IKILLYA, not like music videos or anything, but just like filmed a show or whatever. And I found some stuff that I
I bet.
forgot about and probably you forgot about.
Uh-oh.
No, nothing too crazy. But I guess for people who knew me back then, I started a show around 2009 called Twilight Vision, and
Oh, wow. I totally forgot about that.
yeah, and Guar was on it. I did an interview with Odorous. Well, I
Wow.
filmed an interview. I had hosts back then. Now I'm like, fuck it, I can do it better myself. I know what I want to ask, but yeah, we did Guar and a bunch of cool bands. And it ended mostly just because I didn't have time to do. It was so much editing and no one's paying for it, so it's like that's what I love
Yeah.
about streaming now is like I can do the show and then it's over and I don't have to do anything. I can clip it out if I want, but I don't have to edit anything. It's done. It's a
Yeah.
product. It's just out there. It's perfect. We didn't have that in 2009 unless maybe I could have done it on a kite phone, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to play some of it. But I'm actually on your record.
Oh, that's right. You came and did gang vocals.
Yeah, although I am listed in the thanks, uh, so thank you, but I am not listed as a gang vocal singer. But I have video evidence of me doing it, so I'm on your record,
Really?
uncredited. Yeah.
I don't know
So
how
for
that
the
happened.
reissue of that, you can add me in.
Yeah. I
Don't worry,
apologize.
I'm
I
not
had
mad
no.
about it or anything.
Okay, great, good. Because I
But I was just
don't
like,
know how that happened.
I forgot which one I was on. I was like,
I
yeah,
mean, that
no, this
record
is the
was
one.
8 years ago. Are you
Yeah,
sure? Are you sure you didn't sing on Recon?
I it's not impossible. You know what?
Because
I
if
actually don't have a copy of that. I think every time I see you play, I'm like, oh, I must have all this shit already, and then I forget to
well,
pick up
Recon,
like the new stuff.
yeah, Recon. Like, I mean, it's been out of print for a long time, but that
Maybe it
I mean, I think
is.
I've got. Yeah, because did you go to a rehearsal studio or did you go to a recording studio?
It was at Underground Studios in Astoria or near Astoria.
You're on Recon.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
I
you're on
need a
Recon.
copy of that. I figured I had one, but I guess I only had the first record.
Yeah, no, that's Recon's the first record. Vivictus is the second record, and
Oh,
War for an Idea is the third one.
okay. So I have the second record. Gotcha.
Yeah, you have the second record.
All
Yeah.
right. Tell me, I've reloaded the page. Let's see.
Oh,
Do we have sound?
nope.
What the heck? This is so crazy.
That is crazy though. That's our old studio.
Well,
Oh
you can at
man,
least see it. You can at least see it. And like the
that's
walls
crazy.
were so cool.
Yeah, they were all painted up like that until there was a huge flood, and then they tore all that down.
Oh, really? That's too bad.
Wow,
All right. Well, I guess
old
I'll
school.
just
Yeah,
turn the sound off. But
yeah. So that's our old. That's the old room. The old logo was back behind it.
and that was my host Evan, who was going to do an interview with you guys. So that's why he's there, and he's the one who interviewed Odorous for me.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I have like
But you,
behind this. There's nothing
but you have
crazy
the.
on here. There you are,
Yeah,
giving us
you have the whole
instruction.
thing.
Yeah, and I actually have
Oh,
two tapes of it. I have a
that's
double angle of us doing gang vocals.
that's Fat Jason too. Jesus Christ.
Who's Fat
That was when
Jason? Oh,
me. I let myself go
oh,
quite a bit
you.
at that point. That was like, look at that. I'm like,
Gotcha.
not good,
Your hair is
not
so
good.
long. Is your hair that's still that long?
Yeah, it's probably about the same now. Very long. Yeah, that's
Uh,
crazy.
so I guess we can't hear it, but I found a show that I filmed of yours too at the
At
time it was
Rebel.
called
Oh,
Rebel. But
yeah,
for the old schoolers, this was the downtime Albion Batcave, and
the Bat Cave.
it became Slake for a while.
Yep. And now I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is now. I don't know if it's even a club anymore.
Wow, that's
So
crazy.
yes, I found some of your
That,
old and this is like the original band.
yeah, that's Recon era. That's early.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think this is 2011. Oh,
that's
it's too
crazy.
bad the sound isn't working. I don't know what the problem is. Oh well.
Wow.
Sorry, can't hear you
Yeah,
screaming, Jason.
that's all right. That's all right. My
Oh,
maybe the new new project will work better.
yeah, yeah. Well, I have that on here too, obviously. We'll get to that at the end. Um, have I okay, this is the story I wanted to tell for IKILLYA. Did I ever tell you about the first let me word this very carefully. And this also relates back to Buddy Lube. Um, did I ever tell you about the first time I went to see your band IKILLYA?
I don't think so.
Oh, my brother said, we need a Buddy Lube widget for the sound, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
One of those guys could figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Womp womp. Okay. So, what do you remember about Fridays at work?
Oh, I know exactly the story that you're about to tell. Yeah, yeah. So our offices were half a block from Grand and Havermeyer in was that Roebling? No, I think it's
I'm
Havermeyer.
not totally sure, but I sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Williamsburg. And on the other side of that corner was a bar called Trash Bar, which was like there it is, boom.
Ta-da!
Trash Bar
RIP
was
Trash Bar.
RIP Trash Bar, but that was like home of Brooklyn metal for a long time. Small room, but it was just a
There
blast. It was so
is.
much fun to play there. Yeah, and
I saw
Fridays
lots of
very
shows
often,
there.
so many. Funny, I did a hell yeah photo shoot there a couple years
Oh,
after that.
really?
But
I believe it.
yeah, so Fridays at Buddy Lube, very often they would buy a bottle or two of Patron or like some other liquor, and just everybody would do shots at like 7 o'clock.
Not only
And
did they do shots, we were required to do shots to leave the building.
that's true. That is true. Yes, it was pretty intense.
Yeah,
And
and we
then
were pretty
I
willing to do it too.
yeah, yeah, everybody was. But I booked a show for that Friday night at Trash Bar because I was just like, hey, everybody just walk across the street. And
Yeah,
so I
which
mean
I
a good
did.
number, probably like 70 or 80 people stayed in the office. But the problem was they just everybody pre-gamed so hard
Yeah.
that maybe
Here's the
five or
thing.
six people made it to the show.
Yeah, it probably doors opened at about 7. First band probably played around 8, and you were like the 4th or 5th band.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
At that point, we were headlining.
yeah, exactly. So, yes, I made it to the club, but I didn't make it to your set.
There was
That was the
another
first
member
time
of
I
our
went to see your band.
yeah, there was another member of our team who ended up in the bathroom puking and then passed out
I
in the
was puke
bathroom.
oh, I didn't pass out, but I definitely puked in the bathroom that night. There was
Yeah. We had to have the door unlocked and go get them out and then take them
Wow.
home. And yeah, that was a night.
I think I got out just in time. I was like I didn't say goodbye to anybody. It was just one of those, like, I'm gonna walk down the street to that taxi place and just, like, call it a fucking night.
And get the hell out. I don't blame you. That
Yeah,
was
so,
intense.
um, thank you and sorry and you're welcome. I don't know.
It's all good. That was a good
It's
time.
a
Those
great
were crazy
story.
times.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember that Christmas party at a loft in
Yeah,
Dumbo?
I have some pictures from it,
Oh
I
man.
believe. Was that the Buddy Lube Awards one?
Yeah, that was where I won Best Buddy Luber and then was kicked out.
Well, first of all, should I show pictures from it? There's nothing too debaucherous, but definitely there's some faces in there.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, why not? Whatever. Oh, yeah, there we go. I am 15 sheets to the wind. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that was me accepting something right there.
probably.
Uh, and I was, yeah, that's right before I got kicked out because I was on the mic and I was talking, and the guy whose place it was, I didn't even know whose place it was, came
Yeah,
up
I
and
don't
was
know
trying
whose
to
it
get me
is
off.
either.
Yeah, he was trying to get me off stage, and I dumped my drink on his head, and so he kicked me out.
I actually found video of this
Ah,
on YouTube,
Francis.
although it's so bad that I wouldn't even try to play it on here.
Yeah.
It
That
wasn't
was
like
that dude.
professional or anything.
It was so horrible. My wife and I got in a cab and
And that
took
was
a
my
cab
boss
over.
right there.
Yep. Yeah. We took a cab and went over the bridge. And when we were coming over the bridge, I was so drunk that I was like, I have to get out of this cab or I'm going to puke. And we walked from, I think that probably was the Williamsburg, all the way to where we lived on 14th Street at the time.
Wow.
That was one of many times I've apologized for more than once to my wife.
But that's a scene in the Buddy Lube movie right there.
Dude, I stage dived off that stage
That
and
stage,
into a crowd of people who were not looking for stage diving and
right.
landed on Renee and
Oh,
knocked her
no.
into a wall. And she still has a mark. She has like a permanent mark on her back from where she hit the wall. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should talk about in relation to Buddy Lube before we move on to
God, I
I
don't
do wanna
know.
say one of the coolest things that we did, and I had nothing to do with this really, but I was working there at the time, is we were managing OTEP. That was one of our artists, and I forget, I think it was called Bands in Town, is that the widget? Uh,
Well, I mean, I
maybe?
don't know. Did Vance and Tom exist then?
I'm not
Eventful,
sure.
probably.
Eventful, maybe? Either way, it
It
was
was
a
probably
widget,
Eventful.
and we put it on our MySpace page, and we routed a tour based on how many fans were in each location who registered for the widget and like said they were a fan. And that was
Yep.
the first time and probably only time anyone's ever done that.
Yeah, that was definitely eventful. And we tried to push that on a couple other artists, but like most people wouldn't do it because, I mean, as I know now, at the time I didn't know this, but you know, booking agents need to go where the offers are, and they
True.
need to go where they know the artists will be taken care of. And like, if you have 1,000 fans in Roanoke, but there's no venue and no promoter, it kind of doesn't matter. It's going to be a mess, you know.
Right.
So that was
It was
a
a great
really cool
idea. And
thing
how
we did.
well, how was the execution then? Did that tour was that tour a disaster? I never heard like a story about it.
I don't even remember. I don't
Huh.
know. I know the other thing we did like that, we used Eventful to let people, or maybe we used Soda Head. Yeah, it was Soda Head,
So
which was the
there's so
polling
many
widget.
crazy here. Actually have it's not, you can't really see much of it because it's from the Wayback Machine, but I found the buddylube.com and there's so many crazy names of widgets that I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And maybe,
Well, while you're pulling that up
yeah,
with Soda Head, we
see, most of it's missing, but
oh yeah, okay. Oh,
Snapvine,
gotta bet,
Zynga, Net Vibes,
Net
My
Vibe,
Yearbook, Shop
Glacial.
It, Weeblo, Gotta
Oh
Bet,
my god.
Glacial, Dovetail, like there's Eventful,
Mies.
Me, Soda Head. Here's Soda Head.
Soda Head. Yep. Soda Head was a polling widget, and we used that to let Mudvayne fans uh, pick the track listing for the Mudvayne Greatest Hits album.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was cool. We did a lot of stuff like
Cool.
that. I mean, do you remember when we put a laptop and a portable Wi-Fi transmitter as like giant thing in a backpack, and then strapped a kite camera to a dude's hat?
That
And
does sound vaguely familiar, because
I
I
think
think we
it may
were
have been Brewster.
maybe because I just remember that was probably during like the CMJ convention, and we were just all over town, all over trying to live stream shit with primitive equipment, and like I
Yeah.
remember I
Well,
was
we
at like
did.
Crash Mansion and Arlene's Grocery trying to get shit together.
Yeah. But 50 Cent did what he called a 5 borough tour. He played a show in each borough, and we live streamed all 5 shows from that rig,
Nice.
like on stage. That
Yeah, it
was
was
cool.
probably terrible quality, but
Oh,
it's
yeah, like
nobody was doing that.
360. Yeah, nobody was doing it. No.
Actually, I just remembered one other cool thing, and let me see if I can pull up the picture. Come on, is it? Yes, it's on my Dropbox. Perfect. Um, I had viral video of the month in XXL magazine, which I don't know if that's still a thing, and I don't know if I ever knew what it was exactly, but
From This Is 50.
this is
Yeah, there
50
you go.
and this video, it wasn't even Ron shot it, and I just kind of
Hmm.
edited it. It was just like a fly on the wall sort of behind the scenes stuff. It wasn't nothing fancy, but just the content within. Uncle Murda shows off his bullet wound. After surviving a gunshot wound to the head, Uncle Murda was less than mum about the situation, showing off the scabby hole in his home. Oh, in his dome in an interview on thisis50.com.
Dude, it's because nobody was doing anything like that before. I mean, that was like, remember, YouTube started in 2006, and people really weren't like watching it that much at that
Yeah,
point. I mean, like it was
right.
still like it was coming up, but
Yeah,
it
this
wasn't a
was
thing.
February 11th, 2008.
Yeah, people didn't have cameras on their phones. People didn't have like it was a different time when we had that access. Like people lost their minds. I mean, do you remember Anamigo?
I remember the name, but I couldn't place what it does.
It was a social network for pets.
Okay, I don't remember
So,
this one.
so you would build a page, like a MySpace page, for your pet, and then you would interact with other people's pets as your pet.
How successful was that? It
It
sounds like a
failed.
kind of a good
Really,
idea.
it flopped. It was a
We should
huge flop.
relaunch that with the modern technologies. Now we can strap a little camera, a little kite camera to your pet, and we can watch it all day.
There you go.
There
With
you go.
GoPro.
Yeah,
GoPro didn't
exactly.
even exist then.
No, not at all.
So crazy.
What was, I think I
Anyways,
had one more thing. Oh, I remember we tried to do some sort of promotion. Well, we booked a tour with all of our artists. It was Hell Yeah, OTEP, and Blood Simple. Was
Blood
that their
Simple.
name at the
Yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I know we all went to the Irving Plaza show, but there was some sort of thing where they would like bring a screen out into the stage in between and like trying to get people to text something. And that was like a huge flop too, right?
Yeah, so that was using a technology called Moses, which was the first technology I had ever heard of that allowed you to run what we now know as SMS lists. And we represented them. We worked very hard for them. But at that time, a text still cost 10 cents to send or receive.
Right.
So, like,
Wow.
people were really not into like just
I
getting a
forgot about that.
blast. Yeah, they were like not into getting a blast from like a band, and they're like, oh, that just cost me money, you know. So like,
Mm.
but it was early. They were early. Man, they were
'Cause
so ahead of the curve there.
I think I shot and edited the videos that they played on the screen. And it was like Mistress Julia, probably.
Yep, and
Yeah.
we're all trying to get them to sign up for this thing and do that, and like then we were trying to get the bands to do it from stage, and they refused to do it.
Like,
There's a
this is so
video somewhere.
uncool.
There's a video somewhere of Chad Gray. He and I were talking about this the other day, where I haven't seen this in forever, but somebody was sent to film him to get content for one of these social promos, and they turn the camera on, and he just looks at the camera and goes, "Fuck you,"
Wow.
and just stares the camera down. And he's like, not doing, and like didn't do any, just no.
You know, my only interaction with him and Greg came into the office one late Friday night probably, and we were showing them, footage before the Hell Yeah DVD came out. Didn't say anything, just kind of looked at it over my shoulder, and then our nice boss took them with his paid driver that he had daily to the local strip club for the rest of the night.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then I went home.
I understand part of that too. Chad and I have talked about this too. Like, there's a certain amount of animosity because Chad's a smart guy, and he realized, hey, this guy he's built a business off of charging people access to my fans. Right now, that technology is also helping to spread the word about me, but none of that money is making it back to me. You know what I mean? And because it was so early days, people didn't even think about that idea of like sponsorship in the tech world and like that celebrity endorsement, what that really meant. And so nobody was talking about checks. It was always like, oh, well, we're just cross marketing each other. But meanwhile, Buddy Loop was cashing checks.
Right.
So and that's why he was upset about it, because he was like, you're just asking me to like make you money. Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, and they were more probably our clients just because we managed them, so they kind of had to be.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't have a choice.
It wasn't like a pop
But
star or.
But don't even doubt that those gentlemen were charging the record label for the service.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. And I shot a whole bunch of video that I don't have anymore that I wish I don't know what happened to that vault of tapes that they had, but man, I wish I had those just for archival
I have like
purposes.
Yeah, I have folders somewhere that have like a bunch of decks and a bunch of like old stuff and I came across a login file years ago, which is
Hmm.
like every site is dead, so it doesn't even
Yeah,
matter at
yeah.
this point. But like, yeah, I still have a bunch of like marketing plans and that kind of stuff, but I don't have hardly any video content. I don't have any of that
I
stuff.
mean, I seem to have backups of like final project edits, but like I shot a lot of raw footage of bands and stuff that like never went anywhere. That would have just been like cool to have. Like I remember filming some event at the upstairs in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and like a little bunch of famous people were there. The My Lip Gloss Is Poppin' was happening.
Oh
Lil
yeah, what was
Mama,
that?
was that her name?
Lil Mama. Lil
Yeah.
Mama, that was
So
her
I
name.
filmed Lil Mama. It was like just crazy, weird shit. Like nothing I could do anything with. I just want to like remember that I did it.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Well, I don't know. Ask Matt, ask Prisbaki, ask a couple of those guys. I bet some of
Yeah.
them still have. I bet
Well,
they
I
have stuff
remember at
somewhere.
the end, the bosses had a like a literal vault that he kept these tapes in. And then I guess
Oh,
it just would probably went with them when the company ended.
so he's got it somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah. And we were
yeah,
always just like, oh yeah, we could always get it if we wanted it, but yeah, right. Ship has
yeah,
sailed. Okay, I think we've talked enough about Buddy Loop. Let's
yeah.
pivot a little bit. Well, this is a little segue, sort of. It's not really as, you know, relevant to anything, but I thought this was fun because I saw it on your stories last night. But you went to see Queensryche,
I did.
and who played with
Yes,
them? Judas Priest?
Judas Priest. Yeah,
Nice. Where was that?
at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
I
Yeah.
thought that was funny because my first rock show big concert ever was Queensryche. With
Oh, nice.
But the reason we went because was the opening band was Typo Negative. And this was like Bloody Kisses era to maybe 1996. I was
I
like
remember
11
that
years
tour.
old, and I
Yep.
remember it was like a field somewhere, and there was hardly anybody there, and the sun was out, and Typo Negative was playing, and I walked right up in front of the stage, and Kenny's looking at me like, why does this little kid know all our fucked up lyrics? And that was like my first concert.
That's awesome. That's super
Yeah.
cool.
And my
So for
brother who
those,
was here took me. So, and what's even weirder about that day is like I saw the Beach Boys when I was like a baby, but I don't really count
yeah.
that. Um, I had a dream that night that I was going to go to a concert that day. I'd never been to a concert. In my dream, it was Green Jelly, who I later joined. Spoiler alert. But my brother came home from work and it was like, "Hey, my friend has these extra tickets to Queensryche Typo Negative. Get in the car." And it was just like, "Holy
Wow,
shit!"
that's awesome.
So if you think
And
about it, maybe you'll see Typo Negative. Well, maybe
that's
not
well,
anymore, but
not anymore, but I would love to. Yeah. For those of you at home, that Typo is my favorite band on the planet. So that's where that ties in.
yeah,
And I
and you know,
yeah,
I the first of many times I saw them, and then Carnivore once as well. But that was where it started.
yeah.
It was like 1995 or six, and they were playing in a field with Queensryche. Their album at the time was
95 would have been
uh,
Bloody Kisses.
for Queensryche.
Oh, Queensryche.
Uh,
That would have been Promised Land.
Promised Land.
Right,
Yeah,
Promised Land.
yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
I didn't
That,
know
that
that
was
much
that was the
about them.
last. That was the last. That was the last record where I think Jeff Tate and Chris DeGarmo were like firing on
Empire.
all.
Was it Empire?
Empire's earlier than that. Empire's
Yeah, I think that was earlier
90.
too.
Yeah, Empire I think is 90.
I'll
I don't know.
I know it starts off with the song I Am I. So whatever album that was.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
that's Promised Land.
Okay,
That,
yeah,
for sure.
that's
I
Promised
don't know.
Land tour. Yeah, Promised Land Bloody Kisses. It was awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
then I've been to like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows since then. That was the beginning.
Thousands.
And I wish I had some pictures, but I don't think you first of all, technology was not as mobile as it as it is now, and they probably wouldn't let you bring in a camera of any kind. So
No.
okay,
Nope.
so
So you want to talk about GWAR? What are we talking?
we're leading into GWAR now. He says it might have been Promised Land. They played a lot of yeah, of course, sure. That was like their big hits, right?
As they should.
Right.
Fantastic album. Fantastic album.
So before we move into GWAR, this is the part of the show where I'm gonna do some self promotion because I just put out an album and you all should check it out. It's what I'm saying is it's so punk rock that it's not punk rock at all. And thank you, Jason. I saw you were at the party premiere. At least you
at
popped
the
in.
live stream.
Yeah.
I was. Yep.
It's totally not the kind of music that I usually write, but that's sort of by design. It was all experiments during the pandemic of like specifically trying to not do rock music, and it all just kind of ended up here. Like it had no purpose at the time, but that's why it's not a rock album. But it's the first of 3. The other 2 are coming sooner than you would expect, hopefully. But go check out Welcome to My Pity Party. It's on all the streaming platforms, Spotify. Actually, I'm still waiting for it to get onto Instagram. Apparently that takes like 4 weeks and it's killing me. Do you know anything about that? I used CD Baby for this one.
Yeah.
Is that why you're nah?
Yeah, well, like CD Baby, TuneCore, people like that. It's just like you're in a queue and you just have to wait.
Every day I'm just like, am I there yet? Because that's where my big promotion is going to come, is through Instagram, I think,
I mean, that or TikTok is how people share music now.
Fuck, I don't know anything. TikTok scares me. Like, I think I'm too old for it. Maybe you can give me some pointers. I don't know how to use it.
I mean, I don't. I have an account and I've logged in twice.
Right,
like,
that's
what I know about it.
Same.
Which is like strange coming from the whole last hour that we just had. Like we were at the cutting
that's
edge
your job, right?
and and now we're like, I don't like this one.
It's something weird about it. Every time I download it, I'm like, I'm gonna delete this.
It's not the way I want to consume or interact with media. And I think that probably does have a lot to do with my age, much like you were just saying. So, I get it. But it's just not, I don't know. It's not my thing. And I think there's also, what's that?
Go ahead. You first.
Oh, I was just going to say that, I've been having this conversation a lot over the last year with all the artists I work with about hitting this content wall. Right. And when you and I were doing what we were doing in 2006, 2007, 2008, nobody had done any of this yet. So it was all novel and it was like, wow, this is cool. And now we're at this point where, we're asking artists to do more content than music, than touring and things like that. And many artists, rightfully so, are just kind of like, this is not enjoyable to me. This is not what my art is about. And so I think there's something like
I saw a meme that was perfect for that. To explain that, it was like, could you imagine if Maynard James Keenan was on TikTok? Like, how much would that ruin Tool for you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
and I'm like, I totally get that.
Yeah, and then now things like Be Real. Like, are you aware of Be Real?
That's the next one. Yep. Yeah, I work with children, so I know about Be Real. Without saying what I do on my day job, I interact with people who are younger than me.
Right. But Be Real, not only does it demand you to make content, it demands you to make content when your friends decide that it's time to make content. And like, as an artist, that's just, it's horrible. Like, it's just a completely different experience. It is not made for people who have steady jobs or like things to do with their life, and definitely not artists who are like following inspiration. So, social media has moved into a place that doesn't serve art in the way that the spike of it did.
Represented themselves,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's a side question, but since we're here now, this is a two-parter. Do you think there's so many apps now that artists can afford to choose which ones they want to focus on and then leave others behind, like TikTok, as you're saying? And B, does GWAR have a TikTok?
So I think that you have to do what's right for you and your art. And it is unquestionable that if you do not interact on TikTok, you are leaving a portion of people out, because there are a portion of people who only use TikTok and will not go to Instagram and have never had a Facebook
Yeah.
account. So
Facebook's like ancient now. Instagram's
old
getting
school.
there, I feel like. That's where I hang out mostly is on Instagram.
And that's where the majority of the people are at the moment. But it's a choice you have to make, right? So it's a choice where you have to go, okay, I consciously know that I am not going to reach this group of people because it's not what's right for me. And I don't know that it's a question of can you afford to or not. I think it's a question of what's right for you, because artists also have to care about their mental health, and artists also have
Mhm.
to care about their artistic health. And if your art is suffering because you're making TikToks 5 hours a day, then
Right.
it's counterproductive. So
Yeah.
so that's A. B, I believe that we claimed the username, but I don't think we've uploaded anything. There's been discussion about it back
Speaking
and
of
forth.
promotion, let me finally put that banner up. Yeah, okay. Find
There you
all our
go.
shit. There's subscribe to me on Instagram. Lekberg Enterprise is
Yeah,
just a website, right? It doesn't have an Instagram, just your personal one?
just me. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
I don't really market. I don't really market my company.
Right,
My
right.
company is behind the scenes, so I don't do like exterior marketing.
But go sign
Um,
up for the mailing list and everything.
sure. I
Right.
don't really send a lot, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
just
sure,
did it
come on.
this week, so I'm expecting some blasts, god damn it.
All right, I'll have to figure out a schedule for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
because GWAR, like, has some very funny, like, skit videos and stuff that would be I don't know if it's for the demographic of TikTok, but it could fit the format for sure. Like, I could see the
100%.
characters, like, pointing at fucking shit on their screen and stuff like that. I'm sure Matt
Totally.
would be into it.
It would work. It would absolutely work. The question, especially in Gore land, is where you devote the time.
Right.
Because, as you know, probably better than most people do, but probably a lot of people watching this as well, Gore does everything
Yeah,
themselves,
they make
which
all
is
that shit that you see, and that takes time and effort.
it takes tons of time. And that's kind of where I've come in as well, right? But we'll get to that in a minute. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
their stage show, all the stuff they do, the music videos, obviously we bring in certain people, My Good Eye, which is
Mhm.
Ali and Dave just did this newest one, but like, we bring in people to help, but the band build all the props. They built all the gags in the video. They found the
Mhm.
locations. Like
They
they're
wrote it.
so invested.
Or
Right. They wrote it. They wrote the song. They've ever performed the song. They had to get their gear, you know.
Twitter.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We'll
I I
see.
I also I've never been a Twitter I remember Twitter coming out while I was at Buddy Lube, and I was just like, "I don't know about this one," and I still feel that way. Like, I've never
I,
really used
it's
it.
it's so interesting because I feel like it's like politicians and comedians love it, and other than that, like it just doesn't. I don't know, doesn't go anywhere. But I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't know. The point I was making is that Gore absolutely could do great on TikTok, but somebody in the organization has to go. I am now going to carve out X amount of time to make
Yeah.
sure everybody's in their gear, to make sure they're on a green screen, to make sure it's edited, to like,
Yeah,
and
that's a lot of
it's
effort.
just it's a monumental undertaking. Yeah, I mean they spend months building the sets and
Oh,
rebuilding
yeah.
their gear, and then they run a bar. And they
Right.
run out like all the other things they do. I mean, constantly doing new merch. I mean, we just did a comic book.
Well,
Like,
we're
you know
gonna
what I
talk
mean? Like,
about the merch. Don't trust me, the merch is coming.
okay,
Let's put a
yeah,
let's put a pin on the merch. I'm not even done advertising myself yet. That was just the beginning. My regular
go
show
for it.
tomorrow. So my next phase of my show is I'm gonna be talking to mostly people who had something to do with my album. So this is like my big promo uh idea. And then Halloween,
Cool.
if anyone, including yourself, has any childhood Halloween photos or wants to pop in on Thursday, October 27th, the Von Pod Halloween party.
Nice.
And then some more people who are on the album. Oh, yes. I don't know if I announced this one on the show yet. November 10th, Slim from Green Jelly is going to be there. Uh, what's your relationship to Green Jelly, and how come they're not one of your gimmick clients yet?
I mean, I remember when they were called Green Jello, and when they came out with their first song in the '90s, and or when the Three Little Pigs hit,
Yeah,
I should say. I don't think it was their
yeah.
first song. Um, and I love that. I love that song. I thought it was so much fun. And then they just kind of fell off the radar. And I know you've been so involved, and I think honestly, knowing you gave me more of an education about them
Probably
than anything
because
else.
that was like me joining Green Jelly was sort of a result of me getting my pink slip at Buddy Lube and having the time to do it.
Nice.
So I was like, I don't have a job right now. I may or may not be on unemployment. Sure, I'll jump in the van.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Yeah. And I watched a documentary recently that was pretty in depth.
The Green Jelly one?
Yeah, Green Jelly documentary. Yeah. Yeah. And it was very eye opening. I think that,
and that's old. It's like, there's even more story now. They're doing the Kiss Cruise this month.
That's great. I'm so glad that he's still at it and that they're still working and doing it. For whatever reason, they didn't have that spark like GWAR did with Scum Dogs, and then with the talk shows, and then with Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, but
and I think
if you talk to GWAR members about Green Jelly, they're like, those fuckers made the millions and we're still struggling.
Because they had the one hit?
Because of the one hit, it was huge. It was a gold record.
Sure. But it also helps that there's only one guy in that band instead of like 17 bajillion like there are in GWAR.
Well,
you can make $1 million and you still don't make $1 million.
I just met Green Jelly member number 1,114 this past summer.
Yeah, but none of them get paid.
None of them get paid though, yes.
Yeah, that's the difference. That's the difference.
So GWAR has a sort of longevity, but Green Jelly had like the initial success. Like when I was talking to Don Sleazy a couple weeks ago, he was like, yeah, I remember going to his like fucking mansion being like, basically this should have been us, And you know what, here's a quick funny story. In LA in the late 80s, and this is a great segue into what I'm going to play next, which is my trailer for my documentary about Dookie Flyswatter and Haunted Garage. Dookie Flyswatter took members of GWAR to see Green Jelly in Hollywood in the late 80s, and they were like maybe 5 or 6 of the 10 or 15 people in the room. And I think that was the first time they had ever played Three Little Pigs. This was probably like 1989. Danny Carey was probably in the band. And after the show, it was Mike Bishop went up to Bill and was like, dude, that song's your hit. He fucking called it.
Wow.
Yeah, that guy has some pop sensibilities.
And he's a smart man.
Yeah.
Just in general, in everything.
Well, he's a professor of music.
Yeah. Muso-ethnology
something like that. Yeah. He's one of the only GWAR members to have ever done a TED Talk.
Yeah. It's a fun one too.
Yeah, I like, before, and we'll get to the next whole part of the show is all about GWAR, okay? And then a little bit of Nefariant at the end, but GWAR is coming. This trailer, I'm going to play this trailer. If anyone needs a pee break, you got about 2 minutes or so. I forget what I was leading to on that, but fuck it. Let's just throw the trailer up there. Woo-hoo. And I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Live editing. Here's the problem.
Discussion about the importance of danger, chaos, the possibility of something happening that really wasn't on the schedule.
Mr. Dookie Flyswatter and
the Haunted Garage!
If you took 80s slasher movies and put it in a blender with metal and punk rock, you're gonna get Haunted Garage.
Dookie and his crew were almost like making horror movies, horror punk.
But the gag is, you're in the splash zone.
It is splatter rock. It is chainsaw rock and roll.
Not only chainsaw them, but would pull the guts out and spread them all over the place.
It's like going to a horror movie, except it's actually happening.
There was this real fervor at the time
about shock rock, how bad it was for the kids.
The shock value was exactly what I wanted.
I look over and I see Dookie with his arms on fire.
The flashes from the rear end.
He got brain surgery live on stage.
Whenever you find something weird, we'll give a use for it.
It's not an act that we put on to go on stage.
We were real.
There was some shit being exercised right there.
That was the raw stuff.
You walk out of there feeling like you've maybe left the planet for a little while.
Their legacy is they were unique.
They did things that weren't being done, and they did things that were outside of people's comfort zones.
Dookie was always just ahead of his time on that.
But it really rocked hard. I mean, he had really good musicians in the band.
We didn't want it to be only this deep. We wanted it to be this deep.
It's Haunted Garage. That's the whole point of taking things too far.
They just were doing it to have a good time and make you laugh.
It was always fucking fun.
Actually, we're a lot more stable than I think Bill Cosby.
I don't know how to explain it. It exploded.
Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons.
Tom Waits was there.
We flying Axl Rose.
When you're sitting between Dookie and Elvira, it doesn't get any cooler than that.
There were lines around the block to see Haunted Garage. They were the it band at the time.
Those guys were gods to who they were gods to.
He's an icon of the underground exploitational genre.
Punk rock god of Hollywood.
Bela Lugosi's horrible punk rock grandson.
G.G. Allen, but fun.
He's like a friendly vampire.
He was LA's Peter Lorre.
You need somebody in a movie, that's the guy that you want.
Roger Ebert said it's the worst movie he's ever seen. Cold Steel. Sharon Stone? Who knew? He had a great writing career.
He puts everything he's got into it. He made his whole life his art.
I think that the whole world should know about it.
Now I'm gonna cry.
Slam, 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 slam.
Wait a minute, you're gonna get this.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of working
That's
on
awesome.
it slowly in the background, but if you want to follow, when I do things in phases. It's like I spend a couple months very intensely on a project, and then I kind of come back to it in a couple of months. But I've been doing some virtual interviews and getting in touch with some people. So it's happening slowly. Go follow us at DookieDoc, DUKEYDOC on Instagram. But also next on the GWARPod, Steve Douglas, original GWAR member and member of fucking Death Piggy, one of the guitar players on Hello. He's going to be beaming in. It'll be 9 p.m. here in New York, where I am, but it's going to be noon the next day in Australia, where he lives. So how cool is that? He plays ska music now. Here's the announcement. Chuck Varga is coming on the show November 16th. The legend executioner himself. He also lives in Brooklyn. Did you know that?
I did.
And then November 30th, Colette Miller, one of the original GWAR women. And she was in the documentary. So you saw her in that.
Yep.
And okay, now we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about Lekberg Enterprises.
Right.
What the fuck do you do?
So when I was at Epic Records, I started to get the little idea in my brain for the company that became Lekberg Enterprises. Primarily when I saw Nine Inch Nails and Radiohead both put albums out to their MySpace page.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, this is a model, right? Like you can go directly to the fans. But I realized that those artists don't have the knowledge or the infrastructure to actually run a record label, to actually, make sure you have global distribution, handle manufacturing, all these kind of things. And even if they know the stuff, it's a lot of stuff. And most artists still just need to be artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started putting together the idea to start that company. I ended up going to 11/7, like I said, for almost 3 years. I wanted that indie label experience as well. And so I spent some time there, but then in September of 2013, I resigned from that company and launched Lekberg Enterprises. And that's what I do now. So I build and run record labels and marketing arms for artists who own their own music. So in the case of GWAR, GWAR owns more than half of their catalog. And so we have a record label called Pit Records that I run for them. And we handle
I was getting there.
Yeah. So we handle all of the not only the manufacturing, but the promotion and teams and advertising and marketing and everything that happens all over the world. And the new GWAR.net is something that I built and launched with them right at the beginning of my time with them.
Wow.
And then we're just making all these as many cool products as we can. Right. We started with the Scumdogs 30th box set.
Okay, well, time for props. Okay, we'll get to our props.
All right, there you go. Boom, there it is.
Look at how thick this fucker is.
It was a big one. They were making that before I got involved, but it was really a pleasure to see that get into fans' hands. And then we've got some more. I can't really.
I got a bunch of just the regular ones too, all different colors and shapes and sizes, cassettes, CDs. Although I do have one gripe about it, is that on some of the artwork, you missed the song Sexecutioner is not listed at all.
Yep, fully aware. Aware. So, as I said, I'm going to be careful about how I say this.
Fair.
That project was already underway.
Right.
And I will say that it was already at print before I came in.
Gotcha.
So, there's a lot of art files that go back and forth. And again, that's the reason that my company exists, right? Because those guys understand how to make that product, but they also have to be a band.
Yeah.
So now they come to me and they go, hey, here's a bunch of art. Here's some information. Make this product happen. And I go, great. And I go get all the teams together and the people that we need, and we build it and we launch it. And we've done that for the New Dark Ages, for Scumdogs XXX Live, for This With No Name. And we have, I mean, depending on how you slice it, probably 10 years of content without any new records coming out. And as they release new records, it'll just keep getting further. So
yeah, GWAR goes deep. They definitely do.
Yeah. And it's been fun too, because then, it's all about, it's about building a insular business, like what they want, what Green Jelly does, what those people do is basically creating a business where it's nice if you get radio play. It's nice if you get a Spotify playlist. It's nice if you get press. But if you don't, it doesn't matter, because you're talking directly to the people who care about your music and you're giving those people what they want. Right. And sometimes there's always going to be shipping problems and there are always going to be little things here or there. They're going to go wrong. But for the most part, you're delivering what the fan wants directly to them. And that's what allows us to do things like Prop Time, the odorous toy, even though.
Yeah. See if it glows in the dark right now. I can't tell, but I have two more coming. Wait, let me just show that slide. It's all the way at the end of my toys here. I was like, God damn it, I couldn't find the confirmation at all, but I swore that I ordered more than just this one. This one I got off of GWAR.net, so this one came first. But now I got a shipping. It's in the mail. I'm getting the red and the regular one. Thank God I was smart enough to buy those when I did, because they're definitely gone now.
Awesome. Yeah, they're all completely gone. Yeah. But yeah, like being able to do things like that, and the Half Pints toys and all the cool stuff that we're doing, we're able to do that because we built
look at these guys.
There's little guys. Yep. And we have a whole bunch of stuff coming that we're able to do because, we can go directly to the fan base and we can say, what are you looking for? What do you want? And have that relationship and sell directly to them and deliver directly to them. So that's what my business does. My business powers all of that for GWAR and for my other clients.
Yeah, I just want to read the blurb you got here. Lekberg Enterprises provides business development and product management for the entertainment industry. We build and grow sustainable businesses through focus on the only two things that truly matter: your music and the relationship with your fans. Now, how long did it take to write those two sentences?
Not super long.
Not too long.
That was kind of that's been the mission from the beginning. And someone, I'll be honest, I don't even remember who did it, but someone else gave me that line. The only two things that matter are the music and the relationship with the fans. And I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's the business now.
Oops.
So, yeah, so that's what I that's what I do for
So
all
you
of
got
the artists
you got,
here.
as you say, all the gimmick bands, right? GWAR. Oh, who's this? Metal School? Steel
Yeah,
Panther?
right.
We got
Steel
Static
Panther,
X, Dope,
Static
man.
X.
I used to see Dope so much back when I in like 2003. They were just on every tour that I saw. I saw them like
Yeah.
twice in 1 month, I think once.
They worked hard. Yeah.
Psycho Sinner. Oh, he's from a band too, right?
It's Jeremy from Five Finger Death Punch.
Right, right. Dude,
Yeah.
Stu Brooks. This relates to my album in a small way. My guest who postponed her show from last week is Amani Coppola, and I first discovered her when she was in Peeping Tom, Mike Patton's band, and his backing band was Dub Trio,
Which is Stu Brooks's band.
which is Stu Brooks. And then I don't know, maybe you were at this show, but I remember also seeing Dub Trio at what was called the Luna Lounge at the time, which became the new Knitting Factory, which is now gone in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Back
I
back
didn't
15
see
or
that
so
one.
years ago.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I met Stu actually in 2012 is when I met him, and he and I just became very, very good friends. And
Okay.
um,
Didn't he
you
play
know,
on
I
Saturday
actually
Night Live?
he did. He was Saturday Night
That
Live.
was
Basis. He
awesome.
played the Kanye episode. Actually,
Oh,
nice
wow.
tie-in
Do
there.
you think he crossed paths with that guy that we know?
No,
No.
because that was after. That was after
Okay.
that.
Okay.
It was after he was managing Kanye.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, so that's yeah, Stu's amazing. Stu's just absolutely phenomenal. He's putting out his first solo record right now, and it's just full of awesome guests like Angela Moore from Fishbone.
Dude, that
And
guy's everywhere. And you know, that relates back to Green Jelly. Do you know that well, the show that Green Jelly does weekly, it's on hiatus now because it's moving to the Whiskey A Go-Go, but he did this 3-hour show live on YouTube every Saturday for like 2 years from his living room. And the original house band was Angelo Moore's Dr. Mad vibe.
yeah, Dr.
And
Mad Vibes, yeah.
I shook his hand in that room once, but he was gone by the time the show ended, so I didn't get to meet him. But Angelo used to live in a house with Bill Manspeaker from Green Jello, Hunter Jackson from GWAR, and Carrot from the Chicken Heads in Hollywood.
Wow.
Yeah,
I had
how
no
crazy
idea.
is that?
That's crazy. Wow.
So yeah, and Angelo, I just saw him pop up yesterday. He's in a new video for Bite Me Bambi, which is a really cool new ska band that's out there. And ska's not really my thing in general, but I like them.
Yeah.
So check it out,
That's
Angelo
awesome.
Moore.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a
Yeah.
little side trip.
That's all right.
Let's get back to
Yeah.
GWAR.
Let's do it. What do we want to talk about GWAR?
Where do I want to go with this? Okay. So here's GWAR, their awesome new logo. Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a relationship with GWAR before you started working with them at all? Like just personally as a metal fan or?
Yeah. I mean, the first time I saw them was late 90s, early 2000s, probably. Because I grew up in Indiana, and I don't know where they would have come in the 90s, but they weren't really on my radar until the end of the 90s. But I saw them at a place called the Vogue in Broad Ripple in Indianapolis. And I knew enough to stand back.
Yeah, yeah.
At least I knew enough that.
Or you didn't know enough to not get up front.
Exactly, yeah. One of the two. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
right.
last time I saw you, I was dripping wet with GWAR blood, and I went to go hug you, and you're like, no.
I've kind of passed that point in my life. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, I get it.
But
it's still like a
yeah.
religious experience. You get in there for one song, you get bloody, and then I got to do it at least once. It's fun.
Yeah, so
I'm going on a roller coaster, you know?
Yeah, oh, totally. I had seen them, I've seen them, a couple of times over the years. I respected what they do from afar for a long time because it's very obvious how much work they put in, how much creativity goes into it, and how just the characters and the world and the mythology, there's just so much into it. I respected it for a long, long time. And then I think the closest I ever got, I was at, oh God, what was the name of, do you remember that bar in the East Village called Idle Hands?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, it used
Where
to be
was
called
that?
Broadway Bar. It's on
that sounds more familiar.
Avenue B between like 2nd and 3rd Street.
Okay.
It was in the basement under a building. It's called Broadway Bar, and then it got bought by a couple of rad dudes. Mark Shapiro, you may know him. He's a music industry guy, and a couple other people, and turned it into this club called Idle Hands. And I want to say 2009, 10, maybe 11, somewhere around there. GWAR was in town promoting a record, and Brocky came to that bar, tiny little low ceiling bar, full odorous.
Really?
And
Wow.
it was like, and it was like it was an industry only thing, right? So it was just like a bunch of industry people in there. He came in, destroyed a coffee table, like just smashed it to pieces, left, changed out of the odorous costume, and then came back. And there's like people cleaning up the coffee table, and he's like acting like it didn't, like, he was like, "Oh, hey, how you guys doing?" Like acting like he had never been there before, you know. And
did he fool anybody?
Everybody in the room, yeah, and everybody in the room's like, "We know you're odorous, dude." You know,
Yeah.
like,
That's funny.
So,
well,
that was my
tell
only
me
interaction prior to that.
if my memory serves me correct, but I believe we didn't go together, but we ran into each other at a GWAR show in about 2007. It was with Cradle of Filth at Roseland.
That sounds right.
And it was a Viva La Bam.
Yep, that's
GWAR
very
and Cradle
possible.
of Filth. One of the only times I saw GWAR open for another band, because how do you do that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I remember specifically because I went with my roommate at the time, and I think like 3 songs into Cradle of Filth, he was like, "I'm out of here." I'm like, "Well, I like Cradle of Filth. I'm gonna stay." You know, I've seen them a couple times. And then I think I ran into you and went to the a diner with you and a bunch of people after the show, and like I was probably bloody, and I think it was you and Sam and maybe Lyris Hung.
That sounds right. That sounds
Yeah.
exactly right.
So I know that you saw GWAR at least once before you started.
Yeah,
working
no,
with them.
yeah, I saw them several times from the whatever that first point was. I saw them several times since then. Because I mean, you know, they're always touring, and so I was always at shows that they would be at, and or that somebody they'd be. You know, I remember seeing them with All That Remains on like All That Remains' first tour, and so I definitely saw them several times. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the new album.
New Dark Ages.
The New Dark Ages. Oh, and one of my favorite things about this record, besides it, I'm a huge fan of this record. I'll put that out there right now. Spoiler alert, I think this might be GWAR's best record yet. And that's coming from someone who's been following them since 1994. Like, Ragnarok was the new record when I started following them.
Wow.
And I thought that was a lot of stuff they had put out already. And that was like 10, 15 albums ago, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But now I open up my GWAR records and I see your name in it, and I think that's just very thrilling.
It's thrilling for me as well, man.
Yeah.
It is it is absolutely a thrill to work with them. I mean, not only are they great guys, but you know, just what a rich, deep,
and that's where I had Pit
artistic
Records.
well.
Yeah,
there you go, Pit Records. Yeah, you know, it's such a deep artistic well, which is just so. As an artist, it's so awesome to work with a group of artists like that, because you're not just, you know, I won't name names, but I saw a band this past weekend, and I was talking to one of the members afterwards, and I was like, he was like, "What do we do?" And I was like, "Man, what's your brand? What are you selling?" And he was like, "We're 4 guys that like to play thrash metal." And I was like, "Dude, there's like 17 million of you. Like there's nothing original there." And GWAR is so terminally original.
Yeah.
You know, that it's amazing to be able to work with them, and it's so much fun because they're just you know, I mean, the number of space elves I've been able to kill and blame shit going wrong on in the last 2.5 years has been amazing. I love it.
There you go. Any goblins? Maybe necro goblins?
Yeah, Necrogoblin. Yeah, see, that's another band. I love what they're doing with that. The Right Now show, John, is hilarious. I mean, we had John Goblikon on Steel Panther's SPTV 10 years ago, I think.
Wow.
Long time ago.
They've been a band for that long?
Yeah, they were around they were around LA for a long time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some merchandise.
All right.
First of all,
yes.
Here's the compliment to the album. I have mine here. It's fucking huge. It hardly fits on a bookshelf. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
It's great though.
Well, that's the super deluxe version. The other versions are much smaller. I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here, I'll get the So that's the super
I had
deluxe
to.
because you're a super fan.
I
This
had
is
to.
the
It made me broke for a while, but I needed my Blothar fucking bobblehead,
bobblehead.
and
Yeah,
now
we don't
I'm
speak about
waiting
that.
for my audio book. I keep forgetting that that's gonna happen.
They already sent it, didn't they?
I didn't get it. I haven't heard of anyone
They
getting
should
one yet.
they should have emailed you a link. It's been
Really?
on the site for a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll talk to
Does
Z2 about that.
anyone
This is
in the chat know if Oh, okay. See, I should get the small one just to for practical use, and then this one to put on a wall somewhere.
Yeah, so they got the soft cover and then the hard cover, which is
Gotcha.
the normal size ones.
I was a big fan of I thought it was fun. You know, I love more GWAR stuff, and this is more GWAR stuff.
Yeah, well, in spades.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think of the documentary, and how far along was that when you kind of entered the picture?
It was I would say it was more than halfway done when I came in. Scott Barber, the director, is awesome.
He was my first guest on this show.
Really, that's great. Perfect.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to start strong.
He's great, and he did just a fantastic job. I just really proud of being able to. I had a very, very small part in that, honestly. Right. You know, helped line up a couple of interviews and helped get some assets. Really, that was about it. But for the most part, he was done, and he did just a great job of telling that story and condensing it. You know, because there's like, how do you get that down to 2 hours?
Yeah,
there's
I
so
know.
much. And
see, I told him that the thing that pissed me off the most about it was that I didn't get to make it. But maybe it's better that way, because my version would be like 10 hours fucking long.
Totally. And that was a real struggle, you know, because there's so many stories they could tell, and frankly, so many members.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't even brush. It was like scratching the surface of GWAR. That's why I was like, it's the perfect time to do a podcast. So just bring everyone out. Like, this is like, that's your homework. Watch the documentary, and then when you want the real in-depth shit, like, come to my show. That's what this is gonna be.
And believe it, you know, it's not because the band or Scott didn't want to do.
No, of course. It's just so much information.
And right, you have to cut it down. And then we had to like do things like fit it on a DVD or a Blu-ray, take it to a festival, you know, the ability to take it to Shudder, right? Yeah, to have Shudder
that
actually
should be coming out
stream it.
soon too, right?
Well, it's on Shudder right now.
Right, no,
It's
I
on
mean
Shudder.
the Blu-ray DVD.
Oh, next week, 25th.
Next week,
ships on the 25th.
Sweet.
Yeah, and if you ordered it from GWAR.net, they will probably start shipping tomorrow, so you will get it early.
Maybe it'll come with my audio book.
I'll follow up with Z2 about that. I'll find out where that is.
I was disappointed that you couldn't make this screening in Brooklyn.
I got stuck in Toronto.
Oh. Fucking just blame Canada.
Canceled.
Blame Canada.
Yeah.
Yes, I see how this works.
That's totally what happened. I'm serious, man. Flights got canceled. I got stuck in Toronto. I was just up there being like, well, that's not happening.
Yeah, so it was great. It was actually the second time I saw it, because I saw it at the online film festival first, which I think was a little bit of a different cut.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it went through. I mean, I've seen probably 5 different versions of it, and I know there were many more than that.
I'm sure.
I didn't even get. You know, wasn't even worth sending it to me. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
I'm in that process. You know, my responsibility is making sure that fans get it, and I didn't even have to manufacture that one because of the deal that they did with Shudder and AMC. But you know, I was a part of helping wherever I could, but you know, the edit, I didn't get any notes in. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not where I am. There's too many other people who are artistically involved there and should be. Like, I'm, you know, that's not where I am in the organization. I'm happy to be the mechanics.
Go get Shudder, go watch it, because, you know, I think if Shudder sees there's a market for awesome documentaries about weird gimmick heavy metal bands, you know, I may have something for them. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I will say this: when you are ready, I absolutely have an email I could send. I'll say that, and I'll do that on your behalf.
Awesome. We'll talk offline about that. Thank you.
Yeah. You bet.
It's gonna be a while. It's no one's breathing down my back, so it's gonna get done when it gets done, and I'm gonna do it right. So just
You have
putting
to.
that out there. Let's talk about Guar beer.
Blood Geyser. Yeah.
So this is
That
like
was
just a lead into like if you could we all know Kiss is like the kings of merchandise, but Guar's getting up there. They can, if you thought of it, Guar might have it.
So yeah, the big difference between GWAR and Kiss, and I would say will continue to be the difference, is that Kiss primarily, in fact, exclusively licensed their brand, right? So they just basically said to anybody, if you have a company that makes coffins, we will let you pay us so that you can make a Kiss coffin, right?
Right.
And when you do a license, two things happen. The first thing is you take a smaller percentage of the profit because the other company is taking the risk. And the second thing that happens is that you don't have any relationship with that customer. And that's the antithesis of what Lekberg Enterprises is built to do and what now Pit Records is built to do. Like, right, we definitely do some licenses. In that case, Blood Geyser was absolutely a license, and simply because the legalities around making and selling a beer, like,
yeah, I don't know
that's
if
too
we
much.
can we get it here in New York?
You can't right now.
See,
No.
that's my issue with it. Someone send me a can, man. And speaking of,
the whiskey is the same way.
that was the next
Yeah.
thing. I
There
was
you go.
so
Yeah.
excited for these because I remember a video of Matt making these heads, and he was like, I can't tell you what it's for yet, but I can tell you that it's gonna be metal. And then I saw the price, and I
They're
was like,
metal.
yeah, maybe later.
Well,
It's like
I will say this.
$500. Fuck, I just spent like $500 on their new album.
Oh, if you got all 5 of them. Yeah.
I
got
got the one deluxe bundle and then a bunch of side,
Well, I'm talking about the
revolver and
whiskey.
all
If
that stuff.
you
Oh,
got all
yeah.
5, then
Right,
yeah. So yeah, because it's like $90 a bottle or something
right.
like that.
Which I
But,
get. That makes sense when you think of it that way. But I'm just like, can I just have the tops, man? I just want to put it in my little toy collection.
So I will say that, part of the reason of doing these things the way that we have with the small runs is to prove the model, right? Because the ultimate goal is to get to the place where GWAR whiskey and GWAR beer is available to
Ragnarok
everybody
Rye is what
everywhere.
they're calling it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cheap everywhere, right? And that's the goal, and it takes a while to get there. So hopefully in the very near future, you will be able to get GWAR beer and GWAR product, because we do have some very interesting plans for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna
here in
say
New
maybe
York,
you
and
can't reveal anything, but I know you frequent some metal bars in New York, and that would be a great product for them, just saying.
yeah, we actually, when they were launching both of them, I was like, hey, what can we get here? And it's not even, the issue is it's taking liquor across state lines.
Right.
There are still, it's ridiculous, but I mean, basically what they are, bootlegging laws, right? So the whiskey company, the whiskey distillery, is in Virginia,
Right.
and they're only allowed to deliver to certain states without having a distributor here. So they would have to have a distributor they distributed to that then sold it here, but they're so small they didn't have that ability. So those are some of the challenges that we've had. And so it's not even that we didn't want to sell it here.
Of course.
We couldn't. I couldn't buy it.
Right.
Right. Like, so it's been it's just one of those challenges. And as we show demand, we're able to move kind of up the chain and get bigger distribution and stuff like that, because things like that we just can't do ourselves. Like the legalities around it, that the CBD products, the beer, those are things
that's the
that,
next thing I'm going to talk about. Like, I don't drink that much, but this might be a little bit more my speed. The Bud of Gods from Consequence.
Yep. So
And
again,
I got my
we
little
partnered
jar.
with somebody.
Where's my little?
Oh, you got it.
My little jar.
Is that the Delta 8?
I'm not sure.
Oh, all right.
I got it when it first came out. I merely just wanted the packages, but
Yeah.
Here's what I'll ask about it is, when again, I'm sure this is all a legal thing, but when it is able to be legal, is GWAR ready to make that step up from CBD to other things?
to flower, right? Ooh, what happened to my
Flower,
camera?
yeah. You went blurry.
Yeah, it went away. Hang on. Nope.
There you go.
There it is. I know that they absolutely want to. So I think it's just about, again, partners and timing, and and that we have no control over when those regulations
Of
change and
course.
things like that. So, but yeah, I would say that it definitely is very much
It's
in
getting
line.
closer, especially in New York here. Like, I think there's a gray area about selling it, but it's legal to smoke now.
Yeah. So the biggest challenge there is that if we had a manufacturing facility in Brooklyn, then
Mm,
we would not have a problem selling in Brooklyn,
right.
right?
Hmm.
The issue is having one manufacturing that's shipping other places, and
Right,
there are
right.
certain states that aren't as far along as we're, and so it gets super, and then
Yeah.
you have things like, if you read we had to deal with all this. If you read the fine print on the USPS's website, it is absolutely illegal to mail
Right,
product
because it's still
even in.
it's still federally illegal, which is ridiculous, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So those kind of challenges are, prevent us from moving as fast as we would like, but
Right.
I think eventually it'll get there.
Well, let's hope they still have that license going on when they can do it, because CBD was a novelty, but the other, I think the other stuff will be a hit.
I think so too. I hope so.
Okay, we talked about these guys, but I just want to show them because they're so fucking cute. How
They're
did these
awesome.
do, and will there be more, if you can say?
They did great, and what I can say is that there will not be more.
Awesome.
In fact, very soon. So hang out, and if you're not
Oh,
signed up to the mailing list at GWAR.net, you should do that, because
yes.
that's where you get first pick. We have
GWAR.net,
some
check it out.
very interesting things launching in the next month. So
What's up with GWAR coin? I think I
so
have some GWAR coin.
GWAR coin is a fun one. The band has dabbled a little bit in NFTs, right? A
Right,
little bit
that's
in the
another
crypto
thing I don't
space.
really understand. But I think I
Well,
have one, but I don't know where it is and what I can do with it.
yeah. So
I think one came
again,
with this
speaking.
poster that I bought, actually. The
Oh, the tour.
Scumdog's
You got that? That's the tour
anniversary.
poster. Yeah,
Yeah,
that totally did. Yeah, it came with
yeah.
an NFT. Yeah, totally. So keeping with the theme of what we've talked about, I am still a big believer in new tech, right? And I am very bullish on the blockchain and on blockchain technology. So I'm very excited about where it's going to go. I think we're still very early in that process, but it's been cool to play around with that a little bit. The idea of GWAR coin itself is not actually a on blockchain coin, but rather a reward system
Right.
for buyers, right? So we've talked a lot
You buy
about the
GWAR
old
stuff through GWAR.net.
through GWAR.net, exactly right. And so we talk, I've had a lot of conversations with the guys about the old Total Slavery Club, right?
Yeah.
And the idea of a fan club is really an awesome thing, because it perfectly plays into what we've been talking about, right?
And
Like
that
the
was like,
band
I
want
think
that direct.
Brad's baby, right?
Brad ran that. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And it's about that relationship with the fan and with the person that cares about the band. And so we want to incentivize that. But the problem with the kind of old structure of a fan club
Yeah,
is
it was
that
all
there's
mail
this.
in the actual mailbox.
Well, that, yes,
Yeah.
but also, like, there's a set fee, right? So we have to decide, like, if you pay $20 a month, you get this, right? And there's certain people who are going to go, well, I want to be a part of this, but I don't want to pay $20 a month, or I can't pay $20 a month. And then
Mhm.
you have certain people who are spending thousands of dollars, and they're getting no more incentive, no more return than the $20 a month people.
Hmm.
So the idea of creating this reward coin, which we call GWAR coin, is that you earn it for every single dollar that you spend. And once you get over a certain threshold of total coins that you've earned, it unlocks a separate section of the site that has exclusive stuff in it. And then you also can use that coin for discounts, and for,
I
we've got
think I've
some
done
stuff
that.
Black
Yeah.
Friday coming up. So
Ooh.
yeah, so that's the whole idea, is it's just, again, to thank the fans and to give back to them, and to have a way for us to say, like, you came through and you have bought X number of things, and we want you to have the benefit of that. So because you've bought those things, here's 15% off, here's 20% off, whatever else you want, because that's the relationship that we want. If you're going to be somebody who cares about this band, we want to care about you, and we want to make it worth your while to care about the band.
Yeah. I like the fact that I kind of forget that I have it, and then I'm like, ooh, I can do something with this.
Yeah,
So
and we'll do more too.
yeah,
I
I'm
have
sure.
big plans for that. It's again, you know, just trying to like get the record out, get the next record out, do
Yeah,
all these other
yeah,
things. It's
yeah.
like we're getting there. So,
Well, yeah, I wanted to
and
kind of
things like
return to the. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and things like the factory in China just completely disappearing for a year. It just throws a wrench in everything that we have to deal with. So,
Well, Buckethead's worse, so don't worry.
you know what?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's probably not his fault.
No, I'm sure it's not. But
Yeah.
it's like I just kind of gotten used to like, hey, it'll come when it comes, especially after the pandemic kind of like fucked so much stuff up. It's kind of like whatever. It's gonna be a great day when it shows up in my mailbox, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about my Guar audio book or whatever it is.
And we appreciate you for that patience because it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very frustrating for us. It's like
Like
we're over here
these
going,
odorous figures, I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. I'm gonna get this, and I'm psyched about it now again. It's like reignited my excitement for it, I guess.
yeah, awesome. I love that.
What did you think of the new album?
I love it.
I
Absolutely love it. I think my favorite part about it is that it is as diverse as it is. And I said this to the guys too. Like it's not, it's not just a thrash album all the way through. There
No.
are, really a lot of dynamics in the record. There's slow stuff, there's melodic stuff, there's heavy stuff, there's something for everybody. And I
I
feel
think
like
so too.
it's a very musically mature record, and I enjoy it a lot.
Well, see, I always say I think it might be like if I were to turn someone onto Guar who's never heard them before, I think this is the one I would give them now. I think it might be their best in terms of
Wow.
overall presentation and especially quality. Ronan Chris Murphy fucking destroyed their sound, and it sounds better than any other Guar record, hands down, for sure. That's not up for
Yeah.
debate. And my favorite, because that's a different, more nostalgia trip, kind of category, would be This Toilet Earth. And I think this is the closest in spirit to an album like that than they've had since. And probably mostly because the core of that group is now back in the band writing songs. And so I think I don't know what people expect. Like every Guar record generally sounds a little different. So why would you want it to sound the same? I think it's the same elements, but just stirred a little differently. And then, I think the most people hating on it are kind of just like, but it's like, where's all the baby raping? It's like, dude, get over it. Like they do other things too.
Yeah.
And it's a
I
social
think,
commentary, and they've always been a social commentary. And this is the most social
Totally.
commentary probably since America Must Be Destroyed,
Yeah. And I love Dirks's comment in the documentary when people, because we see so many people saying, oh, this band sucks since Odorous is gone. And he's like, yeah, and your
Fuck
family
that.
sucks since your grandmother died.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah, and it's not like they
yeah,
chose
man.
that. It's like, and what I say is because me, I'm a bass player. So Mike Bishop was always my favorite dude. And like I play a Steinberger because of him. Like I've been doing that since I was a teenager. So
that's awesome.
Him being back and playing bass on the record and definitely like contributing to the songwriting. And his voice is excellent. I love his band Capone too. I was always a big fan of Capone. I think him coming back to the band was the best possible solution to the worst, possible situation. And I think it's the best band probably they've ever had. So, I mean, I love Dave. There's Dave purists out there. Dude, I love Dave, but he's gone. Like, get over it. This band's fucking awesome. They're killing it.
Not having worked with them during the Dave years, I can't compare, but I can definitely say that there is a clarity of vision and a focus that these guys have right now that is exciting to be around.
I mean, now finally, after 30 something years, the album, the tour, the comic book, everything is like actually together, it's all
together.
it's together.
They also mentioned that I think they said that this is the first record that they've been able to tour where the people on stage are the same people in the photo on the album. Like
that could be true. I think they were pretty consistent for a while Corey Smoot was in the band, but yeah, it's been pretty erratic. Yeah. And I hope this band does many more records because I want more of whatever kind of shit that they got going on right now.
You know, they're hungry and they're
Yeah, I
loving
see
it.
that.
And I think I know that we're gonna do some reissues. We have some plans for reissues. We have plans for remixes and remasters. So if you love what Chris
Yeah,
is doing,
I
you know,
won't give anything away for you, but I know one of them may have leaked some info at the screening Q&A, and let's just say I was very, very, very happy with what I heard.
nice. I mean, look, the label Pit Records owns 14 of their albums, you know, so
Incredible.
we have the ability to go back and do some really fun stuff with a lot of those records.
Yeah,
Um,
and some of them really deserve to be heard better. 'Cause I
yes.
like just putting it out there, my favorite record, I said, This Toilet Earth, sounds pretty fucking terrible, but I know there's a good album in there.
Right.
It
Well, you
definitely
know,
needs a remaster, if not everything else.
we'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll
I
get there.
know,
We got a long
yeah,
way to
I'm just
go.
saying.
And a big part of it too is that, you know, when I came into the project 2.5 years ago, was it 2.5 years ago? I don't even know how long ago. 2.5, I think it was. We right at the beginning of the pandemic is when I came in. You know, I laid out a plan for I think it was like 5 or 6 years of two reissues every year. Like just
Yeah.
let's get through the catalog.
Yeah.
And once we started working, we realized that we needed more time because the fans were so excited about them. And then also the band was like, we want to make new music. Like, so let's
Yeah.
move this stuff out so we can put new albums in. So,
Yeah, I
you
know
know,
they had planned like
we
a box
stretched that
set
timeline out.
after Dave died too, and I'm sure there's a lot of projects that never quite made it yet, but I'm sure they're on the back burner.
I mean, and at this point, we're going to want to remaster everything before we do a box set. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
we haven't even talked about a career wide box set. That's not even in the plan at the moment. So
Yeah.
we've still got everything else to do.
Yes, my brother's asking questions. I'm gonna get there soon, very
Let's get
soon.
it.
I wanted to ask if you're going to the new tour at all.
I am. I'm excited. I'm going Halloween, man.
I think I'm gonna miss
Yeah.
Halloween. I actually bought tickets to the Philly show. I'm
Okay.
driving if you want to go, because just New York is so crazy a Halloween weekend. And I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna do a World Inferno thing. It's sort of a memorial for the guy who died last year. So it's kind of like,
Yeah, that's important.
but
Yeah.
hey, if they have any of these cool posters, man, grab me one. Because I have all these
Yeah,
like Guaroween posters from Irving Plaza, and
I'll take a
just
look.
putting it out
Yeah,
there.
I'll see what
You
they
or
have.
any of the fans, if you grab an extra one, if they have them. But yeah, I'll be going
Yeah.
to the Electric Factory on the 29th or whatever it's called now.
I got to tell
Play
you,
Music
that
Hall.
is going to be, I don't even know what it's called now, but that is going to be a great place to see this show because the
Yeah.
show is new. They've got video screens. They're
Yeah.
running a lot of like
I
digital
know.
stuff with
I
the
watch
physical.
I watch Matt's live streams all the time.
Okay. Yeah. So you've seen, so we got Blowfart. We've got a bunch of cool
Yeah.
stuff that they're going out there with now. And the Electric Factory's stage is way bigger than
Yeah, I
Irving.
saw the 25th anniversary tour there. Maybe 20, I don't know. Some anniversary tour, like
Okay.
10, 15 years ago now. Maybe 20th
Right.
anniversary. And I was like, yo, I love New York, but Irving Plaza stage is way too small for them.
It's tiny. Yeah,
I liked
there's just not
when they
enough room.
played Warsaw, it was a bigger stage for them. That was a pretty good stage for them.
Yeah, that's better. It still has, you know, bad access to
Mhm.
backstage and everything else, and with them, they've got
Right.
to have so many moving pieces. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a battle. They work really hard, and especially
Yeah.
for how small that crew is. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize. You know, maybe the I'm sure you do, but most of the people who aren't deep in paying attention, like they don't realize that there's only like 4 or 5 crew people, and they're all just like playing a character, running
Yep.
off stage, changing, coming
Yep.
back, playing a different character, coming back out, like the whole
So,
show.
yep. Totally.
Running a spew machine and then coming back out as a character, getting your head chopped off, running
Yeah.
back. Like it's crazy.
And I think the smallest stage that I ever saw them on was maybe, see if you remember this, the Birch Hill nightclub.
Sure. I never went there,
I
but I know
saw
all
them
about it.
there. That, I mean, dude, they had Gorgor there, and like the ceiling was like hilarious.
That's awesome.
But they still pull it off. Like they can play anywhere. It's insane.
Yeah, they make it happen.
Okay, let me do a couple questions here. Oh, yes.
Let's do it.
The Cutter is out today. The music
Yes.
video for The Cutter. So let's put that out there. I think It's probably the best. It's definitely the most bloody music video that GWAR's ever done.
Yep. I agree. It
Go
was
fucking check it out.
incredible.
I was in the live chat during the premiere.
It was age gated by YouTube before the premiere even started. That's how bloody it is.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. My brother wants to know, how did they score Lizzie Hale, who opened up for my brother's band in 1997.
That's cool. Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
when they were like
So
little kids.
Lizzie is
And I have a prop
shares
while
a.
you're talking.
Oh, okay. Lizzie shares a manager. They have the same manager, and Lizzie, from what I understand, was also a fan. And as Blothar said in his statement, she has been an undercover scumdog this whole time, and we didn't even know it. So
where is it? Where
that's
is
how
it?
that
Where
happened.
is it? There it is.
Oh, you have the outburn?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I know she was on their web show during the pandemic too.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I
there was
love
article.
these photos by Jeremy Sapper. Fucking awesome, especially this glossy
good.
one. It's like so shiny. I'm so jealous of Jeremy's studio. He's rocking it.
Yeah,
These pictures are fucking awesome.
They're great. He really did a great job. I really enjoy them. It's a new look for them that I'm really liking. I love those photos.
Scumdogs is still the standard. Oh, you mean just like the baseline GWAR album? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it is a fantastic album. You're not wrong at all. And Ronan did an amazing job on the remix.
Yeah. Yeah.
So does that include
X-Cops,
what include
the reissue remixing? Because I agree, that one definitely could use some work. I don't know if Metal Blade owns that or not.
Yeah, that's actually one that I don't know. We've talked about it briefly. We have some X-Cops merch up on the store, but
it's a great album. Sounds terrible.
Yeah, we haven't that hasn't really been part of the conversation yet. And again, I think it's just there's so much just getting to it. So I'm sure, if it's possible, because as you noted, Metal Blade does own a section of the middle of the catalog, and we have a great relationship with Metal Blade.
I think.
Yeah, 95 to well, the last couple records were actually licenses, but that they did with Metal Blade. But yeah, but we have a great relationship with Metal Blade, and it's possible, even if they own it, that we may work something out with them to reissue, remaster it down the road as well. So
yeah,
we want to get through everything.
Just to telling the fans out there, I am working on getting Pete Lee on the show. He was the guitar player who spearheaded X-Cops, and if you saw the documentary, he's the one who got shot. So I'm working on that. I think it's going to happen. Stay tuned. I'll ask him all about the X-Cops. Let's talk about this.
Oh, that.
Yes, what is
cool
this?
logo.
It's a very cool logo. I love that video where the pieces are coming together too.
Thank you. Yeah, so that is the logo of my new project, which is called Nefariant. It's my new personal band.
Look at these ugly motherfuckers. Dude, I see Dan. Dan is everywhere. I saw him this weekend. I can't go anywhere without running into this dude.
Dan is a live music staple, man. He is.
He was with you last night, right?
Yeah.
And then I show up to shows. Like one of the last times I saw you, I was filming a band at Lucky 13, and I was like, okay, I got to film the first band, and then I know the second band, and then I show up and he's in the fucking headliner. So I'm like, damn it, now I got to watch them too. I stayed the whole night because of this guy.
Dan is an incredible musician, better dude, if that's possible, and is just a music lover, and he supports everybody. He'll just pick a night and he'll go to a club, and I'll be like, "Where are you at?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know who's playing.
He's
I
not
just went to see
playing.
who's playing."
He's hanging out.
He's just hanging. He's just like, "Oh, I want to go see who these bands are. I've never heard of them." And I'm just like, "Man, good for you." He's out there.
I saw King Hell open for Green Jelly.
That is a great lineup.
Yeah, this was in 2007 or something, right before I joined the tour. They played with, so that was my first interaction with them.
That was right around the time that Dan and I met.
Yeah, I didn't know them really until years later, but it's I saw fucking King Hell. That's some scene legend shit right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, that's when he and I
also
met,
check
and
out
he mentioned.
Alakeen's Gun. Of course, we know that band in the metal scene in New York, but everyone else will know it as, sort of a Orange is the New Black offshoot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's been
Yes,
around for
he's
a
in that
long,
band
long before
too.
that. Yeah, he's in that. Was in Purple Pam and the Flesh Eaters. They are
Right, I've seen
retired
them.
now.
Yep, yep. She's still
So many
making
bands.
hot sauce for Trauma though, so go check it out.
She is. Yep. Yeah, Dan and I have been friends for a long time, and I'm really excited to finally be making music with him. Like we were like, how has this not happened already? Like, let's
Yeah.
do it. So
Yeah, we can
it's
never be in the
exciting.
same band because we're both bass players, so that's why I've never played with him. But I can't go anywhere without seeing him, Even that GWAR show in New Jersey, he was there with you. It's like even
He
outside of
was.
New York, I'm running into this guy.
That's true. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was there with the drummer of Nefariant was there as well.
Oh, okay, so I don't know him, but I guess I did meet him that night briefly.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're, so Nefariant's my new project, and it's very different from IKILLYA. Much more melodic. Yeah. And we're
And
looking
who
for a
did you
guitar
get
player.
to mix your EP? Because that was very exciting to me.
Oh yeah, Ulrich Wild mixed the EP, which was a real honor to have him work on it. And then this last January, we actually all flew to LA and stayed out there for 10 days and recorded a new release, which will hopefully come out once we find a new guitar player.
Ah, yes. Well, if you're a guitar player and you want to be in a cool metal band in New York, hit this guy up.
Hit me
I don't
up.
know where you are on the screen. I think I'm reversed. So,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck yeah. I feel terrible because I haven't seen your new band yet, but I also don't live in New York City, so I'm not there as often as I used to be. But I will
Well,
get
and
to it.
I appreciate that. But we haven't played that much. We
Okay.
actually played our first show February 28th of 2020.
And that's the day after my birthday, so
Yeah, and it was the 2 weeks before the world shut down. So that that just kind of made us. We went away for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then when we came back, we've done a couple of shows. We've done I think probably 4 or 5 other shows since then.
Yeah, I
we're
know you
trying
played
to
that place in Brooklyn. What's it called?
We played Sovereign.
No.
It used to be called Arrogant Swine, and now it's called Sovereign Smokehouse.
It used to
And
be
we
the
played
place.
Kingsland.
Kingsland, yeah. It used to be the
Kingsland.
place, right?
Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
those
World
were
Inferno
kinda-
there at least once.
Yeah, those were like kickoff gigs, and then we went to the Knitting Factory. Did a couple Knitting Factory shows, a couple of Mercury Lounge shows.
R.I.P. the
and,
Knitting
yeah.
Factory. God damn.
Yeah.
The third
R.I.P.
one, and it's gone.
Gone for good too.
Is it really? Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be so expensive to run that shit. That's a big room.
Big room.
What
a perfect room.
I have a funny story about when it was being transferred into the Knitting Factory. I sort of crashed a wedding party there. Before it was officially open, but I guess they opened it to, I think, someone who was helping build the stage or whatever. But it was done, but it wasn't open yet. So I saw my friend play in a wedding band there with, oh my God, what's her name? She did like Mother, remember that song in the 90s? Josh Freese plays drums on it, actually. What's that? What's her name? You'll know her name. Mother.
I
Oh,
don't know.
I'm finding a band called Mother. No, that's not what I want. I'll find out. But it was cool. She was big in the 90s.
Okay, that's cool.
Anyways, that's my little Knitting Factory. I did play that stage once, so that's cool.
I love that. I love that stage. That's an
Yeah, it
awesome
was a good
stage,
time.
awesome room. Like I hope somebody else leases the space and turns it into a venue again, because it's perfectly located.
Yeah.
Sounds good in that room. Like it's just I love
Tracy
playing that.
Bonham.
Okay.
Yeah, remember her?
Yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
She played in a makeshift wedding band with my friend Sam and one of the guys who produced at Studio G.
Oh, Joel Hamilton?
No, I forget his name right now, but he's
okay.
He's done a lot of cool stuff.
Okay, awesome.
No, not Fiona Apple, but that's a good guess. Good guess. Tracy. Yeah, Tracy Bonham, and Josh Freese plays on that record, so check it out. It's cool, and she plays violin. It's like alternative rock, whatever. I I think we're about at the end here.
It's a lot.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to say about GWAR or Nefariant or Lekberg Enterprises?
Well,
Check it all
I
out.
want to thank. Yeah, I want to thank you for taking the time to have me on, and thank all of you who are watching for
Oh
checking this
yeah, well
out.
this was part
Um,
therapy for me.
yeah,
We had to
gotta make
unlock
that documentary,
15
man.
years of buddy lube.
You got to make that documentary, dude.
Yeah, now that I've said it, it's like when I think of something like that, I'll never forget it until I do it. That's why I always
Yeah.
am working on so many projects, because it's like I thought about it, I got to do it now.
And it's got to be one
Like
of us.
GWARPod.
Yeah, it's got to be one of us that does that documentary, man. Nobody can do it from the outside.
I'm
Somebody who
claiming
was
it
there.
right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Well,
that's
I mean,
legally admissible in court, but I'm saying it.
I'm gonna bet that you won't have a problem. You won't get challenged. It'll be all right. There weren't that many people working there who were making movies and documentaries and stuff. So I think you got it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I'll talk to Matt. Like we'll partner up on it. I'm sure that would be a really good team. And it would be cool to hang out with them. It's like so weird when you work with somebody, you sit next to them every day for like a year, and then you just don't see them like forever. And it's like so weird. You're like best friends for this small amount of time because of your circumstances together, and then you separate, and it's kind of like the band broke up.
And those circumstances, I mean, remember we were doing 14, 16-hour days. Like it was so intense. I mean, it was like going to war. I mean, I don't want to.
Maybe more for you. We were in the basement fucking around a lot.
Okay.
We
It was
produced some
intense
cool
for us.
stuff, but I don't know. I wasn't in the trenches so much as you were with the counts and everything.
Yeah, that was so intense. But I still think we should do it, and we should.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a
I
good
will.
story because then we can sell it to someone who wants to make the miniseries. Like the biopic.
Like Silicon Valley.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and I'll I don't know. I'll help you round up the interviews. All we have
Yeah.
to do is decide whether or not we're going to put the owners in it.
Right. I think they have to make that decision for themselves, and hopefully they don't try to sue us. Although Scott Barber, check out episode 1, talked a lot about how he made the Nickelodeon documentary that he did before GWAR with they didn't talk, like they had nothing from Nickelodeon. It was completely independent. It was all fair use. Like you can get around it if you need to. And they did.
Fair use is an interesting clause, and it can work until it doesn't. So
far so good for him, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I think people enjoyed the documentary. So
yeah, it was fun. Coolio was in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Well,
it's on Hulu, I think.
I actually haven't. I have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
I saw the other one that he and his partner did, Red Dog, and I really liked that one too.
What's that one about?
So it's about a country music guy who he's not a big star, but he writes a lot of big hits. I think his name is Chris Dick. I think is his name, and he was raised in a strip club. His mom was a stripper, and so he literally like hung out in the strip club when he was a kid because he didn't have anywhere else to go. And the strip club was called the Red Dog in Oklahoma City.
I think he did mention that. Yeah. You know if that's streaming
it's
somewhere?
A cool documentary. Yeah, I think it's on Amazon. I think it's on Prime.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I always tell you when I see you, if you ever want to make a pilgrimage down to Richmond, I still need to make that trip too. So, I want to I want to do it right. I want to go to the GWAR bar, try to visit the slave pit if I can get the connects right, and just to see the milk, the dairy, do the whole thing. I need to do that in my life. Like I fucking made a show about it, so now I gotta really commit to doing it. It's not that far away from where I am.
No, it's not bad. Yeah, I haven't been down there yet either because the majority of the time I've been working with these guys, it's been the pandemic.
Yeah,
so,
and they're fucking road dogs. They're always on tour too.
Yeah, they're busy. Well, I mean, and they don't all even live in Virginia anymore. A couple of them live in different places now.
Yeah,
so.
Casey lives in Texas. I think Mike's Bishop's in Florida most of the time.
People are all over, so it's like it's a little harder to get everybody together.
True.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you ever want to do it, I'll drive.
I will let you know, absolutely, man, because I do need to do that at some point. So
right, and
we'll
I have
it out.
as of now, I have summers off. Just putting that out there. So that's when I have time to do crazy shit like that.
I think I'm putting together what you do now. You work with kids and you have summers off.
I'm not saying anything on the GWARPod. This is a not safe for children podcast. I think I missed that slide. It's all the way in the beginning somewhere. But yeah, now that we've talked for almost 2.5 hours, this is a not safe for work podcast, everybody. If you are a child, please do not watch this.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
that's exactly how GWAR would do
GWAR, speaks for itself, I think, in their not safe for workness. But yes. Yeah, the podcast definitely follows that. Well, I don't think we said anything too crazy on this one, but sometimes you let those GWAR guys go off. You don't know what's going to come out of their mouths.
No
Even
idea.
just talking about what they do on stage can be shocking if
you don't know better.
Hearing it almost sounds worse than seeing it, because you're like, they did what? With who? How? What?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, some of our conference calls.
Yeah.
You have a minute where you're like, did someone just say that in a mixed company conference call? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I think we did it. I think we did it.
Did great. Thank you.
We hit all the marks. Go check out Nefariant. Did I say that correctly? Oh, I have a question. What does Nefariant mean?
It is an improper conjugation of the word nefarious.
Gotcha.
So it's like the state of being nefarious. Nefariant.
Nice.
But it's completely wrong. That's not English.
Check out Nefariant. Go check out the Cutter video. It's fucking awesome.
Yes.
It's on YouTube now. More of that, please. Like I miss GWAR being like a cinematic. Well, I miss the GWAR movies really, but I know that's a tall order.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Go see GWAR if you haven't already. They've been on tour. I don't know how these guys do it, because they're fucking playing every night, and they must be in better shape than I am. With that gear on, you know. Well, yeah. I think Pustulus is about my age, which is shocking because I just think of them as old men now.
A couple of them are.
Yeah. Cool. Go check out my album. I'm going to promote myself again. And you know what? While we were talking, I downloaded the None Louder video. So I'll replay it for the ending. And it should work.
All right, do it.
So I'll talk to you later, man.
See you, dude.
I wish I could go to GWARoween this year, but I don't think I'm going to make it. But if you want to go to Philly, let me know. Yeah.
I'll let you know for sure. All right, cool. See you.
Cool, man.
Bye, everybody.
There's none louder right now.
Know what? There is none louder!
You can hear it? All right, goodbye, everybody.
There is none louder.
There is no louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There's none louder.
There is none louder.
There's none louder. There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There's none louder.
There is none
louder.
And you're watching None Louder. So crank it up.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
And there is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There's none louder.
And there is none louder. Booyah, booyah,
There is none louder. There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There's none louder.
Right!
There's none louder and none better.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
Non c'è nulla di più gumogoso.
There's none louder.
There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder.
Any other hazard.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
Say it again.
Say it again.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
None.
There is none louder.
There is none louder. There is no louder.
There is none louder.com.
There's none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
이것보다 더 큰 게 없어.
There's none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder. Mr. Garnish that they started to go figure.
There is none louder.
There's nothing louder. There is none louder. Bitch.
There is none louder. There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There ain't no louder in stuff.
There is none louder.
None fucking louder.
There is none louder.
There's nothing louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
Non c'è niente di più rumoroso.
There's none louder.
There's none louder.
None louder. None louder, baby. There is none louder.
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 And there is none louder.
There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder.
There is none louder. No fucking way. No kid.
There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder. There's none louder. There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder. There is none louder. There is none louder. There's none louder.com. There's none louder. There's none louder.
There is none louder. There's none louder. Suck it, bitches.
There is none louder.
None louder.
There is none louder. Check it out. There is none louder.
This is none louder. That's right. None better. Right, Chuck?
None louder, Scott. There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
There is none louder.
没有比这更吵的。
There is none louder.
Ain't nothing louder.
There's none louder than us, or them, or all of us.
And there's none louder or more beautiful than me.
There is none louder.
You're watching None Louder. Because what else do you have going on? Fucking nothing.